Chapter 849. El outline awful demons many times. Elyun zilukt atlthi girl standing inal front, awful gattle connecting heavenland, earthlat the land awfulest dream. Thriel strands awfulest bluel hair clustersel stewed upland frontlof hurl forehead. Fell slender bradle fell behindler. Fell cuffs werlin laid withal steel bluelgum stones. Andolf sword shapedal streamers atlthi cornerslof hurl skirt fell, giving himla veril cold sensilof alienation. Inal front awful her. Therel was alwaisla beigel blue swordland serted obliquely. Felsword wasselmore slenderlthan hurl slender body, land fell blade, showedla coldal silver white. El the partlof fell hilt alanel was half-la meter long. The central part connecting with hilt land bladel was, al circular compass. Lin fell center awfulth compass, lthier wasla hugel keyhole, which'll had never'll been opened. Everal time she saw her, hell would feelth horrorlof death. Fell cold blue swordlight had'll killed she overland overlagan, leaving lon indelible mark on Lyun she. Hol air you. While air Yulin Mildream? Your swordlease. Later, she null her name land waddled rodelbend hurl represented. Thousands awful years awful protection, fell eternal isle blue swordle holder. She islthi skyl sword withal the nobles land mostal mysterious temperament lin, theligen dranked existence still known tol Yun she, which island linal with all Yun Shisel fantasies about of legendal rank Andolven fell dream lover. Hylabov, sacred land inviolable. Lif Huelhua Islthi Queenlof Summerland Thel Golden Glow, then Shelley's Thel God Awful Winter Andolth Cold L'aurora. For Yunelshi, Shelley's all sold onlily accessible, dreamlike existence. He could imagine Thel future awful marrying Huelhua, Budel want Levin hovel that ideal about Lilibet. Even no Thadel Hasselth Reitelto interled Skyl Tower Anel can seal her, Helkant hovel any blasphemous Lydia's aboutler. Maybe that's still the feeling loft seeing gods. Yun Zilha's null belief inal gods, but lift their lease. In Lee's mind, Elth closesta god's lease notless teacher, El Casina Thel battle god, not shale longness Thel sky sword, but her. Fantasy legend, Yunelshi recalidler outline, land his lone temperamental beggin, tall gradually become a ethereal. Demons hovel countless forms. El they arrowborn inal response tall hundreds awful millions awful desires. At fizzlement, Yunelshi unconscious lil depicted partlof the lutline awful demon lin hissel vision. She shootled lave fell same breath loss lilibit, LSO that'll people can't'll see her real appearance. Onlthi six-lied deminal mask, strangel patterns began to appear, making Yunelxi's temperament more and more ethereal, just like'll temperament lof Thel dark bluel sword holder. That least Thel eternal breathel that hassle crossed Thelong riverlof timeland remains unchanged. It islthi grainslof sandland gravel precipitated inal history, immortal land mysterious. Firmly watch Theldor between heaven and earth. Even live Thel stars change, lit will not change. Waldo you'll desire. After simulating partlof Lilibet soul breath, Yunelxi's ice-looking atlzun al-sal became soft. At this moment, Elyun zil became extremalil mysterious inlth islof zun. Itlas told sadel that Yunelshi masteredlth paranormal vasavartan scrollwell, andal easalil fold Thel talented girl from Thel ghost sortal domain. When openinglth paranormal vasavartan scroll, Elth cultivatorslof all generations cultivatedlth secret lard, full summoning demonsel with, supermel wisdom andal great perseverance. For them, Thel paranormida vasavartnal scroll isla disaster landal karma. Onlo by usinglth supermel Buddhist karmalto moval paranormida vasavartan slurt, andal make ill bejan toldo goodle things. Canalthi achievelth so calledal Buddhist goldenal status. What thaldo islet those'll hoeril suffering from love, get away from painslaw fell world, and'll cut awful tier relationships with their lovers. At the lend awfulthis road, those cultivators will sealth deminal representing fell extreme desirelaw fell world. That lease, their lone catastrophe. Evenulth wisestal cultivator can't'll remain unmoved lin fell face awfulth powerlaw feldeman. And'll finally dilat fell hands awfulth demon. Onlilth cultivator silwo hoveldun countlessl good deetselcan servivelthis disaster, will get ridloff fell mortal body, land achievelth goldenal status awful Buddhism. However, Thel method ofliun zil cultivating Thel paranimida vasavartnal scroll I'll not Thel same asselthat awful these cultivators. Waddle a skettle for wazzle not al golden status, let alanila disaster lof immortals. Heldent evenlhave and lacurit concept lof demons, land heldent nullhow carefulilth cultivators aware, winelthi cultivatedilth paranormital vassivartan scroll. Whatlayun zilwins islandly feelability, tall resist temptation laughter cultivatingilth paranormital vassivartan scroll. In other words, what thel cultivators want least thel result, a full cultivating thel paranormida vassivartal scroll. What Yunelshi wants least thel cause, a full cultivating thel paranormida vassivartal scroll. Hell wants Theldaman itself. From old paranormital vassivartan scroll, el Buddhism seekselto, transform, elv demonslento gudlexistences. As for yun shi, li al not interested lin thelway, tol transform thel demons, andel will not transformeth demons. Los long los helgets immunitilto thel demons, inelth process lof cultivatingilth demons, li doesn't whole mind otherl things. One isle, intentional, thel other isle, unintentional. Probabil since thelbirth awfulth paranormital vassivartan scroll, uno onella's cultivated lit inelth this way. Yunelshi didn't know what level a full cultivation methodilthis paranormital vassivartan scroll wall was, andel justilsted tal cultivate ill directly. The firstal dimin hel visualized isle, mysterious and different, which least represental be Lilibetla's ultim plate. It Hasselto Bell said that Lyun Zilha's ultimate full cultivating demons, land hell succeeded Inli's first latamt. At Thizzlement, Inlth Islof Zun,Elyun Zil with Alsix Isle Mask, Exedeedless stable, reassuring, mysterious, land profound laver. Zero correct as Algenius awfulth ghostal sword domain, Elsh Hazel never seenlthis temperament 11 Inlth, Masterlof Thelgos swordal domain. I wantlto grabble her longal black hair land steplon itl with mill feet. I woodled like tolb entangled'll be those'll hairs, and'll I will never bellborn again. Ogle praise thel beautiful black'll hair, which lease mill of, her black long hair lease thelbest in'lth world. Chapter 850 El Princess Awfulth Gradles Yakov, Missile Zun, Ural Sexuality Isilvery Dangerous. Yunelshi looked lat Zayuinal with, pitiful eyes and'll shrugged hissel shoulders. If Heli's al cultivator, their lease al conventional methodalto deal with thistle situation. Some cultivators will use'l their gradle wisdom tal guide Zayuanalto breakler hartle barrier. Some cultivators will recitelth sutral 3600 timeselto moval Zun. Some cultivators will use'l their fistelto teach'l may a lesson, and let Zayuanal give up her idea. Well, Elyun Xylus not la cultivator, LSO hell went dolf that. All hell could doll was not do anything. In other words, what hell did Wazzle listen? It all enough forlim tal cultivate thel paranimida vassivartnal scroll with ul thighs hartalasking cabin. So, do you'll understand? Yunelshi didn't know Walto McKelth other'll party understand. Anyway, just'll pretend fathel Wazzle doing things. Well Lee See'll thank you. Elzeuan's isel sparkled. A sliff it'll had open edilth doralto all new world. Sometimes, Lthier islandly alpiece awful paper between ulth normal world and ulth dangerousl world. Ewan zilgist listen edilto zeuansel troubles and'll stared ather, which'll made her'll understand what'll real'll wanted in their heart. Brave'll break thel secular prejudice, will face your lone inner'll desire, and ultrally realize your unknown'll side. This ilone awful abilities loft demons, demons arrowborn ill response tall hundreds awful millions awful desires and'lthy, naturally lave feelability tal infect people. This'll kind awful power could levin makel those ascetical cultivators fall, not tol mention young girls. Of course, those cultivators can complain if they'll can't defeat demons. They looked for ilth themselves. Therefore, opening paranormital vassivartan scroll will bell regarded as la disaster, because facing demonsel requires endlessl wisdom and'l confidence. I see. Lee needlethis kinlof long'l black hair. Il went bellost anymore. El biting her'l hair, Zeuan, la genius'l girl from'l ghostal sword domain, left Thelkabine without'l hesitation. The answer'l sheskedel for has'l appeared. Yunzil also successfully harvested Thel first material for casting'l demon'l mask. Like black long hair, Elyun zilukt at'lthi material collected from Zeuan, and'l had albad premonition. Soon, El's second'l guest awful hart'l asking cabin lalso came. With la black'l ponytail and linterlaced swordslon hurlback, Thistle was Algirl Huslies Werel Fool Awful Confusion. Yun Zil knows her. El Shi Isla Princessel from Thel Great Sia. El before Huelhua Camelto Thel White Lotusal Sword Palace. El Schwazel recognized Aselthi Chieflof Thel White Lotusal Sword Palace. Whileast there'll such Amonster in this world. El Princess Xiaoling. Sittinglin Frontlof Yunelshi. Wazel Fool Awful Troubles andal Confusion. Monsters? Yunelshi Moreller Lessel guessed Waddle Princessel Trouble was. After all, that trouble was one lof hissel troubles. Yes, Thelriel monster. Tell Yulth truth, Lee considerel myself al first class genius lin Thel world. This I'll not mill boast. Since I wasla child, Lee hovel been Thelbis genius lof mileage. Thel total number lof talentsel defeated Bilm Shudolb Azelmani, Asla battalion. Elsia lingle fell intel memories. Most awful royal children awful greatlsia havel experienced strictal cultivation sinceal childhood, and ulthi will get Thelbis training from birth, measuring talents, selecting weapons, and ovin Thel future growthal direction, has long been arranged. Just'll show your talents and'll constantly become stronger. Stronger, land you'll can realize all your wishes. Xia lingled it. Her strongle sword talent made her elders ecstatic. Land shell was praised loss one law fell candidates for Greatlesia's national good weapon, Greatlesia's dragonal sparrow. From an early age, Elsia Lingle was not interested in anything except fencing. When fell other Princess Cecil were resting, Elsh wassel cultivating her sword. When fell Prince's finish Edolf swordsmanship course andal played, Shell was still cultivating swordsmanship. Inulf Deadloff Knight, Elsh Wazel still cultivating her sword lunder Thelman light. In essence, Elsia Lingley's Sukla simple person. There isl most nothing lin her world except Ulf sword. Theladal Shell worships Al Yun hail the Skyl sword. Thel god weapon Schwanzelto, only Thel great Siasel dragon sparrow, land Thel most important thing Shellwins Islto becomala Skyl sword. The Skyl sword Islthi fantasy lof countless teenagers inulf Skyl sword domain, but fuel people can really move forward with Ulthi's goal. Xiaoling was lone awful best among those few people. For this purpose, Elsh divided her every day very carefully, and Ovin compressed timel for eating, land didn't miss an opportunity to improve. White Lotusal secret treasure lease one law Thel roads Thadolsh Hasself Mossel chance, Talget Cliselto Thel sky sword. Shall naturally Camelto Thel White Lotusal sword palace loss and l'international student, land naturalil defeated all her rivals land Becamelth well deservedal chif, awful Whitel Lotus swordal palace. According to her plan, laughter receiving favorlof Thel White Lotusal secret treasure, Elsh will return told Greatlsia swordal domain and'll practice hardalto impact la hiro realm. Everything inler life lease forth Sakelof Becamingla Skyl sword. However, this life plan has been completely disordered since Shell met Huelhua. The battle with Huelhua completely broke her life plan land maddle her wonder whether Shell called real'll become Al sky sword. It'll felt like lawn impassable wall suddenly appeared in'll front awful her. All difficulty Isulsh encountered Lin fell past where'll not worth mentioning compared with Huelhua. This wall is so high that Ulsia Ling can even see fell top, and Ulsh can't leven sealth hoplof turning lit over. How could there elb Sukla monster Lin thistle world? Because Shelley's Al genius awful Greatlsia swordal domain. Xiaoling can feel felteror ofulhua hu 11 more. Likely yun she elth closer you getlto Huelhua, fell stronger you'll can feel her. Xia Ling, doubting herself for Thel first time, kept reflecting lon hurl battle with Huahua, land hurl mind wazel fool awful shadowlof Huelhua. She even'll stopped when'll saw this strangel heart asking cabin. She hassle things Shellwins tokno in'll questions Shell can answer. Therefore Elsh camel here talis curl heart, tortural her heart, land lucal for anlancer. Chapter 851 L the Princess, Zell troubles Immel strong, everyone else says Immel strong. Xiaoling's voice'll gradually became trembling. In frontlof Yongxi's mask-covered face, the larrogant princess'll finally open Edler Heartland say to what Shell had never told anyone. But l'll know their lease all wall in'll front awful. Il can even'll think offlany whalto climb lover it. Il have never'll had suckle despair and'll fair in'll me life. Well, tell me, what should I do? Thistle has become me internaldaman. I fly don't lover come it, lmy life will endle here. I can't stop here lif ill went tolb al sky sword. No matter whatly you are, tell Mel what ill should dolto climb lover thistle wall. As long lost ilkin surpassler, ilkin palany price. Did shell notice? Yun Zil found that princessel from Thelgreat's Ial was indeed lone, awful most outstanding geniuses lin, Thel white lotusal sword palace, land unexpectedly discovered Thel strangeness awfulthis heartalasking cabin. However, Laven so, Elsh coodle not get rid awful her ownal desires. Soul she confidental her, heartal feeling toll a stranger. Her problem can't be solvable by just listening toll her situation, because shellkant solveth problem herself. Of course, Yun zilkant solveth problem too. Helkant dolanithing toll surpass hisl invincible child hoodle sweethy art. The powerlof huelhua isel that, Thelmore you'll understand it, Elv morel horrible ill will be. Thistle princes from Gradelsya haslanly been in contact with Huelhua once, land hell has been defeated Bylhua Huel countless times. There are manal problems in Ilth world, which eril insolvable. You wanalto surpassler? Thelsix isolmask Yunelshi whirl radiated strangelite. The degree lof annoyance lof Zyling isel stronger andel hotter thanelthat offelzy you in justel no. If Thel power offel desire canelb absorbed, elv demensel will gettle better nourishment. So, Lee mustel do it. Fortunately, Lee hasla cluel about thistle problem. After all, itlis a bothlee's first love andel childhood sweetheart. Yes, lif ilkant surpassler andel become Thel strongest, ilkant havala null future. Zyling luklup atl yun she lur isel fool offel desire. So, doli you wantlto surpassel casina Thel battle god? Or, do you'll want tol surpass Yonilth supral god? Do you'll want tol suppress Yashalthi dragonal god? Do you'll want told feet Thel west queenlof kunlunal god's domain? Yunlshi smiled landisketel xiaoling. Well, Li think. Yes, Li wantlto becamel stronger. Xiaoling's isel gradually becamel hot. Endel thir wasla burningal flame inside. Well, this isel the answer, lore hint, given while yun she. Because hassle for supral strong ixel girlfriends, Hell has never stopped yearning for becoming stronger. Therefore, Hell was particular liable to understand Xiaoling's hesitation. There least Huelhua Aselthi benchmark land, Thel twin witches lost Thel reference. Helly's not proud, awful little achievement Hell has done that all. However, did Yunelshi lo sell his confidence? Thelinswer, awful course, isel no. One awful greats ladvantages, Ofliun Xylus, Thathel Kalemaster hissel position andel plan his life at any time. Wenel wasla mortal, lies futurel was Talmary Alkoldhood sweetheart land, spinless life lin allsmall town. After l'awakening Thel fate, Ofel being Thel starchild. Hissel gol Becamelto escapel from Thel pursuit offless forlex girlfriend's land livel well. No matter which life, lit alyun shisel kois. With onlil choice. Yunelshi isel free and unfettered. It's just la leal that everyone least born laquil, but lat leastelchus your lone life. This least well yun shi lu optimistic bil nature. Reminds sil xiaoling el there isel no endelto becoming stronger. Thelwall you'll see now least actual la part lof your life. It isly your choice'll whether toll cross thistlewall or'll stay in'll front offlit. If you look at lit from la higher level, Thelwall in'll front awfully you mail no longer a slint surmountable asly you imagined. I'll see. I am trapped. Too narrow-minded Tulsi Thel wider world. Halha. So. Ill was trouble to be suckle problems. Xiaoling wiped away hurl tears and'll held Thel double dragonal sword behind her again. El her isel became brightland vivid. Thankfully. I'll see. I'm still too weak. I'll have told stronger. Wherever life fall, land no matter how many timesel I lose, Lee shoot'll still move long asly live. I can't lover come thistle difficulty, how can ill possibly be Kamala skyl sword? Does shell take Thel sky sword lost Thelgol? Yunelshi nosel wear Xiaoling's persistence lease. If itless her, maybe shall really hasselth opportunitilto be Kamala skyl sword. Yunelshi can feel Thel passion from a double dragon swordlon hurlback. She isel really al genius holken give up everythingle for Thel's sake awful sword. El she can't see anything except Thel sword in their eyes. Fel Sky Swordle God's Domain. Just because Lof won'll such swordle genius after Lanather, can'll give birthel to so many SKYL swords. The strong will awful countless swordsmen has even'll distorted Fel shape awful God's Domain, giving birthel to sword shape domains that lair different from other goddess L domains. The Greatel Sia Isilthi highestal sword domain. Zhou, Elhan Andaltang Arelf 3 secondary swordal domains. Tianhe, Ghost, Elbuluo, Longyuan, Elshuan Yuan Andalmani other slayer Midland Laurel sword domains. Thelmost ancient sky sword lease Lilibet. Shale longness Isilthi mostal bizarre SKYL sword. Casina Thel battle god, Elv SKYL sword awful sandloft time. Yumlhai Thel sky sword lease one loft Thel god slayer SKYL swords. Looking ATL Xia Ling, El Yun Zil seemed Tolb Ablelto Sealth, Epitomalof Thelhol SKYL sword goddess L domain. She island deed qualifiedelto Bella SKYL sword. But what'll schmetal was Huelhua, which'll hit hurl self-confidence. 0 correct thank you. Lee feel much better. Just El Hua Huoli's still a beagle problem. Can you'll tell Mel why Shelley's soul strong? In termslof age, lit Islam possible for human being sulto reaculthus level at thylage. After solving her problem, Xiaoling's expression became morel cheerful. In essence, Elsh Isla Veral simple girl. Chapter 852 Their secret, Inulthus world, Lthir Arelmani mysteries. Yummelshi doesn't know Whyelhua, Hualken Bell so strong. No matter what opponents' faces, El Hua Huel never showsel timidity and anxiety. This Isilchurk even when Shell was in contact with Casina Thel battle god, a Lilibet Thel sky sword, land shale longness. In Thelener worldlof Hyderalth water god, Shalevan Dureselto kilth legendaral fantasy creature Luraboros. If Ouroborosel didn't hidle beside Thel Casina Thel battle god, El Schmidel be real ilbiatin up. Thelatus Dragon War Trialhas refreshedal yun she's understanding offless child hoodle sweethiard again. Shall actually createdal Sakal sisters, thatlinly existlin dreams. If'll sumion sadal that Huelhua wassel the original dragon. Yunelshi wood'll believe it. Abyss lore nightmares lore. Compared with Yunelshi, Xiaoling obviously understands Thel concept awful non-humanal better. After law, Shelley's Thel princess awfulth greatel sia swordal domain. Even if'll lo zesselto Huelhua, Shelley's still a genius lamong Thel talents. Countless peers arrow-covered byler brilliance. No matter Walsh is, Elsh Isilthi opponent lie needleto catchlup with, I fly wasn't label tallface her, Li one tlbe Thelreal SKYL sword. Like Aliang Birdle who experience settleth stormlatak anlance, again'll spread its wings. Xiaoling's Isilhave become more determinedel than before. Thel frustration, awful being defeated'll be alper. The confusion lof losingulth waylof going'll forward. And Thel knew Donalthat final'll broke outlaw Thel shell win'll facing herself in'lthis cabin. In their eyes, Lthir wassel no confusion. Linstead, Shell had some kind awfulleaf after rebirth. Well, that's good. It's really inspirational. Yunelshi almastel forgot Thathel wassel no shaping'lth demons. However, Elv next'll second. Yunelshi found'll that thinks'll seem told going lin all strange direction. Remember'lth prerequisites lof seeing'lthis hard'll-asking cabinland paying attention talit? This isilthi placel that onlo girls whole suffer from love will find. Thelnist where elv demonslair bread. Apart'll from Thel demons themselves, Lthir is'll no opposital sex, just like Thelscript gardenlof girls. Therefore, Elsia Ling'll will naturally lave troubles. Yunelshi didlet hurl solve Thel problem awful wall, but also planted'll seeds. At Thizzlement, Thel seeds begin'll to sprout. Wilth Princelof Thel great Xyle turned around land left'll yun shiesl heart asking'll cabinet. Endlthan Yunelxi's six-sidedman mask'll prompted that lit collected'lth Martial, lesbian con, Elyun Shisulkin wasslabout toldrop. Did Thistle Princess from Greatel Sia havel any special feelings toward Hua Hul because Shell was defeated'll be Huelhua? Why is'll this result? Elias sent Shell supposed tall cultivate hardle from Nowlon and'll alsany ending? Waldo's Thelmas collect'lth material lesbian? Before Yunelshi recovered'll from this, lon other null victim Camelto visit. This time, they were'll his acquaintances. Ling'ling and'll Malon. Lingoling touchedled words lon Theldor curiously, while Mylon wazzleding a lot awful documents with la depressed expression. Apparent lil pooled overall here byle ling ling Allah. It's also interesting here. Let's go in'll together. Lon. How many times have Ellie said? Don't calm Bill that name. I am not lon lon. Il will belbad if these documents lair, not'll given told leader. Liha velno temelto a campanilia tol such al suspicious place. It's not suspicious at all. Lit feels good here. El ling ling's intuition was lost good loss ever. Land shaloosed hurl big chestelto, knocklopen theldor awful cabin. Withal familiar dialogue land familial plesness. To Daleth tol girls were loss energetic loss ever. Welcome do you'll have no worries. Yelshi tukla deeple breath. After Ling Lingle came in, Li all whistle felt Thath paintingal style awful heartle asking cabinal was wrong. Doesel this silly land sweetl girl also have trouble in love? Yes lies, yes. El Ling Lingle raised her hand Highland sadle her troublesome shyly. Recently, Illoway's feel that mill breasts errol not enough. Least there laney whalto and creoseltham? Yelshi wazzle salent. Mylon pressed her forehead. Il have triedelto drinkle pay a milk clin thel morning, snoll shellfish stoodle milk atl noon, andle honey milk lat night, but Illoway's thinklit all not enough. Least there laney secret recipe thalcan, continuelto increasel sizelof milchist? Lingoling, with la naval expression, eskedelyun she. Thalcute face, with albig chest, least realila crime. Yelshi felt that Feldeman hell incarnated waslabout Tolos control. Well, Liao solwent tokno thistle question. Mabel schwaslin fected byle ling ling, el may lan lauso askidl samel question. Is there laney whalto quicklo grow ural chest? I hardle that summel witches can'll make magical drugs, that'll can quicklo develop their'll breasts. Well, although thalair asking samel question, at least Mylon hassle more commonal sense. Is there rella secret method offal breast enhancement? Elyun zil searched thel paranermida vassivartnal scroll andal found that'll their wasselno similar record on lit. Probably, thel cultivators whool cultivated thel paranermita vassivartnal scroll haddle no needle for this. Mableyun zil will get corresponding knowledge from demon laughter summoning lit, but not now. Yul will growl again. Believe inly yourself. It's not that yummelshi isling. Zero correct thanks to ladequate nutritionland exercise. Elf girl sloth thel starwings night slayer developing a well recently. One lof them, laven underlth guidance sloth younglxie's seed, lawaken thel talent belong ginglto witches land haddleto shylelty, hurl chest withal bandages tolavoid beingle regarded asla, traitor lebay hurl friends. However, unfortunately, elme lonsel growth I'll not high. Elmaybe shell has null hope awful reaching thel same size, lost lingoling in their life. However, Bang smell also has lawn advantage lof beingle small. Yunelshi doesn't discriminate against girls with small breasts. Asselferwalth girls sloth thel stars nightsel care so much about their breasts, Elyun zil didn't thinkle that hell should know truth. Chapter 851. The Princess's Troubles P.S. https://scientianjin.com/index php/category/xianxia/starchild escapes arranged marriage/I'm strong. Everyone says I'm strong. Xiaoling's voice gradually became trembling. In front of Yun Shi's mask-covered face, the arrogant princess finally opened her heart and said what she had never told anyone. But now there is a wall in front of me. I can't even think of any way to climb over it. I have never had such despair and fear in my life. Well, tell me, what should I do? This has become my internal demon. If I don't overcome it, my life will end here. I can't stop here if I want to be a sky sword. No matter what you are, tell me what I should do to climb over this wall. As long as I can surpass her, I can pay any price. Did she notice? Yun Shi found that the princess from the Great Xia was indeed one of the most outstanding geniuses in the White Lotus Sword Palace, and unexpectedly discovered the strangeness of this heart-asking cabin. However, even so, she could not get rid of her own desires, so she confided her heart feeling to a stranger. Her problem can't be solved by just listening to her situation. Because she can't solve the problem herself? Of course, Yunshi can't solve the problem too. He can't do anything to surpass his invincible childhood sweetheart. The power of Hua Hua is that the more you understand it, the more horrible it will be. This princess from the Great Xia has only been in contact with Hua Hua once, and he has been defeated by Hua Hua countless times. There are many problems in the world, which are unsolvable. You want to surpass her? The 6 eyes mask Yun she wore radiated strange light. The degree of annoyance of Xiaoling is stronger and hotter than that of Ziyuan just now. If the power of desire can be absorbed, the demons will get better nourishment. So, he must do it. Fortunately, he has a clue about this problem. After all, it is about his first love and childhood sweetheart. Yes, if I can't surpass her and become the strongest, I can't have a new future. Xiaoling looked up at Yun Shi, her eyes full of desire. So, do you want to surpass Cassina the battle god? Or, do you want to surpass Ionia the super god? Do you want to suppress Yasha the dragon god? Do you want to defeat the West Queen of Kunlun God's domain? Yun Shi smiled and asked Xiaoling, well, I think, yes, I want to become stronger. Xiaoling's eyes gradually became hot, and there was a burning flame inside. Well, this is the answer, or hint, given by Yun Shi. Because he has 4 super strong ex-girlfriends, he has never stopped yearning for becoming stronger. Therefore, he was particularly able to understand Xiaoling's hesitation. There is Hua Hua as the benchmark and the twin witches as the reference. He is not proud of the little achievement he has done at all. However, did Yun Shi lose his confidence? The answer, of course, is no. One of the greatest advantages of Yun Shi is that he can master his position and plan his life at any time. When he was a mortal, his future was to marry a childhood sweetheart and spend his life in a small town. After awakening the fate of being the star child, his goal became to escape from the pursuit of his 4 ex-girlfriends and live well. No matter which life, it is Yun Shi's choice. With only choice, Yun Shi is free and unfettered. It's just a lie that everyone is born equal, but at least choose your own life. This is what Yun Shi, who is optimistic by nature, reminds Xiaoling. There is no end to becoming stronger. The wall you see now is actually a part of your life. It is your choice whether to cross this wall or stay in front of it. If you look at it from a higher level, the wall in front of you may no longer be as insurmountable as you imagined. I see. I am trapped. Too narrow-minded to see the wider world. Haha. It's so. I was troubled by such problems. Xiaoling wiped away her tears and held the double dragon sword behind her again. Her eyes became bright and vivid. Thank you. I see. I'm still too weak. I have to be stronger. Wherever I fall, and no matter how many times I lose, I should still move on as long as I live. If I can't overcome this difficulty, how can I possibly become a sky sword? Does she take the sky sword as the goal? Yun Shi knows where Xiaoling's persistence is. If it is her, maybe she really has the opportunity to become a sky sword. Yun Shi can feel the passion from the double dragon sword on her back. She is really a genius who can give up everything for the sake of the sword. She can't see anything except the sword in her eyes. The sky sword god's domain, just because of one such sword genius after another, can give birth to so many sky swords. The strong will of countless swordsmen has even distorted the shape of God's domain, giving birth to sword-shaped domains that are different from all other God's domains. The Great Xia is the highest sword domain. Zhou, Han, and Tang are the 3 secondary sword domains. Tianhe, Ghost, Bulyuo, Longyuan, Xinyuan, and many others are middle and lower sword domains. The most ancient sky sword is Lilibut. Shea Longness is the most bizarre sky sword. Cassina the battle god, the sky sword of the sand of time. Yunhai the sky sword is one of the god-slayer sky swords. Looking at Xiaoling, Yun Shi seemed to be able to see the epitome of the whole sky sword god's domain. She is indeed qualified to be a sky sword. But what she met was Hua Hua, which hit her self-confidence. Thank you. I feel much better. Just, Hua Hua is still a big problem. Can you tell me why she is so strong? In terms of age, it is impossible for human beings to reach this level at this age. After solving her problem, Xiaoling's expression became more cheerful. In essence, she is a very simple girl. Chapter 852. There's secret in this world. There are many mysteries. Yunxi doesn't know why Huahua can be so strong. No matter what opponent she faces, Huahua never shows timidity and anxiety. This is true even when she was in contact with Cassina the battle god, Lilibut the sky sword, and Shea Longness. In the inner world of Hydra the water god, she even dares to kill the legendary fantasy creature Ouroboros. If Ouroboros didn't hide beside the Cassina the battle god, she might be really beaten up. The latest Dragon War trial has refreshed Yunxi's understanding of his childhood sweetheart again. She actually created the Zaka sisters that only exist in dreams. If someone said that Huahua was the original dragon, Yunxi would believe it. Abyss or nightmares or... Compared with Yunxi, Xiaoling obviously understands the concept of non-human better. After all, she is the princess of the great Xia sword domain. Even if she loses to Huahua, she is still a genius among the talents. Countless peers are covered by her brilliance. No matter who she is the opponent I need to catch up with. If I wasn't able to face her, I won't be the real sky sword. Like a young bird who experienced the storm attack and once again spread its wings, Xiaoling's eyes have become more determined than before. The frustration of being defeated by a peer, the confusion of losing the way of going forward, and the new dawn that finally broke out of the shell when facing herself in this cabin. In her eyes, there was no confusion. Instead, she had some kind of belief after rebirth. Well, that's good. It's really inspirational. Yunxi almost forgot that he was now shaping the demons. However, the next second, Yunxi found that things seemed to be going in a strange direction. Remember the prerequisites of seeing this heart-asking cabin and paying attention to it? This is the place that only girls who suffer from love will find, the nest where the demons are bred. Apart from the demons themselves, there is no opposite sex, just like the secret garden of girls. Therefore, Xiaoling will naturally have troubles. Yunxi did let her solve the problem of wall, but also planted seeds. At this moment, the seeds begin to sprout. When the prince of the great Xia turned around and left Yunxi's heart-asking cabinet, and then Yunxi's six-eyed demon mask prompted that it collected the martial lesbian con, Yunxi's chin was about to drop. Did this princess from the great Xia have any special feelings toward Huahua because she was defeated by Huahua? Why is this result? Isn't she supposed to cultivate hard from now on and have a sunny ending? Why does the mask collect the material lesbian? Before Yunxi recovered from this, another new victim came to visit. This time, they were his acquaintances, Ling Ling and Mei Lan. Ling Ling touched the words on the door curiously, while Mei Lan was holding a lot of documents with a depressed expression, apparently pulled over here by Ling Ling. Ah, it's so interesting here. Let's go in together, Lan Lan. How many times have I said, don't call me by that name? I'm not Lan Lan. It will be bad if these documents are not given to the leader. I have no time to accompany you to such a suspicious place. It's not suspicious at all. It feels good here. Ling Ling's intuition was as good as ever, and she used her big chest to knock open the door of the cabin. With familiar dialogue and familiar helplessness, today the two girls were as energetic as ever. Welcome. Do you have any worries? Yunxi took a deep breath. After Ling Ling came in, he always felt that the painting style of the heart-asking cabin was wrong. Does this silly and sweet girl also have trouble in love? Yes, yes, yes. Ling Ling raised her hand high and said her trouble shyly. Recently, I always feel that my breasts are not enough. Is there any way to increase them? Yunxi was silent. Mei Lan pressed her forehead. I have tried to drink papaya milk in the morning, snow shellfish stewed milk at noon, and honey milk at night, but I always think it is not enough. Is there any secret recipe that can continue to increase the size of my chest? Ling Ling, with a naive expression, asked Yunxi. That cute face with a big chest is really a crime. Yunxi felt that the demon he incarnated was about to lose control. Well, I also want to know this question. Maybe she was infected by Ling Ling. Mei Lan also asked the same question. Is there any way to quickly grow your chest? I heard that some witches can make magic drugs that can quickly develop their breasts. Well, although they are asking the same question, at least Meilon has more common sense. Is there a secret method of breast enhancement? She searched the Paranormida Vasavartan scroll and found that there was no similar record on it. Probably, the cultivators who cultivated the Paranormida Vasavartan scroll had no need for this. Maybe she will get the corresponding knowledge from the demon after summoning it, but not now. You will grow again. Believe in yourself. It's not that she is lying. Thanks to adequate nutrition and exercise, the girls of the Starwings Knights are developing well recently. One of them, even under the guidance of Yunshi's seed, awakened the talent belonging to witches and had to shyly tie her chest with bandages to avoid being regarded as a traitor by her friends. However, unfortunately, Meilan's growth is not high. Maybe she has no hope of reaching the same size as Ling Ling in her life. However, being small also has an advantage of being small. She doesn't discriminate against girls with small breasts. As for why the girls of the Stars Knights care so much about their breasts, she didn't think that he should know the truth. Chapter 853 F No Way. Chest Fetish. This is sentiment fragment she obtained from Miflon and Fling Ling fit seems that bothfoff them have some unusual obsession with theftist. Moreover, this is not fan exception. Next, Fun Ziftok Toffmore Thampha dozen girls from Starwins Knights, almost without exception, with similar symptoms. This is first time she found that theft strange custom fof class division bifchest appeared fun consciously in Starwins Knights. Even this ranking is more authoritative than theft strength ranking. Because of battle power ranking fof theft stars Knights will always change except for theft top 5. But thief ranking off the chest will remain fun changed. Most of the noble girls have a amazing chest circumference. They fare only worried about shape fan stiffness fof theft chest. The civilian girls are extremely distressed by their small breasts, figure for larger and more beautiful breasts. Why do fia have same worries? Aref there no further worries? She listen to theft girls troubles fand wasf embarrassed toffluke at Starwins Knights wafware obsessive with breasts. At Samif time, thief informed demonf posture einifun she's mind begamfto responfto theft feelings have had absorbed, fand herf chest gradually expanded. Demons arif born infresponse toff hundreds off millions off desires in the world. Fevery personfwo opens paranormitaf vasavartan, scrollfwill encounter different demons. Well, fear is no doubt that sees demomf started toff come strange. Lilibeth Azuref Excalibur is cold and mysterious. The Starwing Knight girls desire big breasts. All kinds fof information fair mixed together and for find. Yun Zif knew nothing about this. When sun went down Yun Zif put af sign saying, F pause reception, fon theftkabin, left from theft back door, fand returned to theft room where they big white balf was located. Taking fof theftsik side demonf mask hanging fon his face, yunf she breathed fa si fof relief. Faz always, feeth big white light ball was suspended in center fof theft secret treasure froom, pretendedfto be fa cloud, fan turnedfa blind fi to fun she. It's freely difficult to cultivate demons. Fun zif checked theft mask and side. The big white ball suddenly flickered. What is this human saying? Has he freely cultivated paranormitaf vasavartan scroll? Moreover, real if started toff-shape theft demons. There is no reason. This is paranormitaf vasavartan scroll. Before opening fit, event Buddhist cultivators fave toff recite sutras thousands, ofttimes toff pray forth Buddha's blessing. How can mortals cultivate such a thing? It will attract disasters from demons. Just getting started requires great wisdom fan perseverance. You can't just wear fa mask fto simulatef sintfof demons. If you want fto seef demons, you must closefto them for yourself. What kind fof evilfways did the boy throw himself do? Half cold have collect soft much emotion alf power from this mortal body and fopen theft or toff demons? Black fair fetish, lesbian fetish, chest fetish, foot fetish. Yoon Zif counted Thef emotional power collected Bith six-side demon mask. F the more F saw fit, Thef more bewitched became. Before wearing this mask Toph disguise himself as afterman, Hef didn't know that theft girls had so many kinds of troubles. What should fi doff with theft girls off the Starwinds nights, who fare especially if suffering from some F disease collectively? Theft big white flight ball fluttered to F Yun Shi's side and froze at moment. Liv saw theft patterns on six-side demon mask. Here. F here. How can this possible? Is this Gaifa reincarnation fof afterman? How cold hef have collected so much emotional power fin less than half a day? In Forder Toph make this originally blank, six-eyed mask produce patterns, fit wilf take at least dozens fof unforgettable fluv relationships. Even those great cultivators and saints can't gather such a huge amount of emotional power fin such a short time. These young girls' emotional power is source fof theft supreme demons. Did this boy fuse afchi? The speed fof cultivation fist toof slow. Yunf she looked fat theft six-side demonth mask, husf patterns onlef occupied af small part, fan began to wonder fifth hefwold skip class, and set up fa stall outside, thef white lotus sword palace. Is this slow? F if theft monks wafware troubled by this hard yorf words, they fooled cry. ISNTFA Normalf cultivation program supposed Toph Luke fourth lovers fwo a ref troubled by fluv, and felp thimfto get frid off it? What is speed fof collecting emotions? How do you cultivate? Why could fio collect power fof feelings fan thoughts so easily? Well, fit has been decided. F the number fof girls suffering from fluv in sword palace is limited after fall. I go outside and set up fa stall. In this case, fi should bablefto quicklif collect theft materials you saidfto summon demons. F Yun Zif made afari serious plan. Du toft imminent danger off zakas, cultivating paranimitaf vasavartan, scrolfas becometh top priority. The teenager fwo was worried about love with Theffer Zakaf sisters didn't realize what fa wonderful feeding hef was doing. Ah flet us bliss this brave star child. This guy cheated. F seeing Yunf Shitakefthi mask finto his farms. Thef white light ball sent fout and fangry and hysterical protest. Nafway. If can't be possible. Chapter 854, Dreams Come True in the White Lotus Sword Palace. A small circle of girls began to spread a wonderful legend. It's a legend about a cabin with incredible power. It is said that this cabin will quietly appear in a corner of the White Lotus Sword Palace, and only girls who are troubled by love can see it. The name of the cabin is Hard Asking. Walking into the cabin, you can meet a mysterious man with a mask. This mysterious person will listen to your story and give answers. It is not divination or prophecy, but as long as you can walk into the heart-asking cabin and tell your troubles, you will be lucky. The heart-asking cabin is the cabin representing luck. This legend, which only spreads among girls, is passed down from one girl to another, and soon the secret will no longer be a secret. The next day, when Yoon Shi opened the door, he was shocked to find that there were several young girls waiting outside the cabin. They even lined up with good manners and came in one after another. Hello, master. When did I become a master? Yoon Shi looked at the girl who was being very respectful to her. She was one of the Starwinds Knights. If nothing happens, her problem will also be breast fetishism. And no, Yoon Shi looked at the familiar figure in front of him and felt something was wrong. It is a very special talent that other members of the Starwing Knights don't realize. The talent is similar to Little Witch Rose's. Her petite figure was undergoing some special changes. There were some troubles between the girl's eyes and eyebrows, but there was also excitement. It's her. Her name is Xiao Yi, a member of the civilian fiction of the Starwing Knights, and her friend is Xiao Mi. Both of them had contact with him as a prince in the world of the Dragon War. At that time, he realized that there was a clear gap between her chest and the size of other civilian faction girls of the Starwing Knights. Now, after experiencing the world of the Dragon War, her development seems to be getting better. Although most of the girls of the Starwing Knights are still developing, her growth rate is 10 times faster than others. It is like a small seed sprouting. After countless hard efforts, it finally sees the sun and absorbs rain and dew to grow. I have a secret that I cannot tell you. Xiao Yi, who didn't know that Yunxi had known everything about her, blushed and looked at Yunxi's six-eyed demon mask. I may be ill. If you tie up your developing chest like that, you will surely get sick. Don't worry, everyone will forgive you. Yunxi smiled and comforted the nervous Xiao Yi, and then looked at her chest with tender eyes. Master, did you know? In front of Yunxi, Xiao Yi felt that everything had been seen through. Sure enough, the legend is true. The mysterious master has the power to listen to people's troubles. As long as you hear the voice of the master, you can have luck. Girls have a special attachment to luck. Especially girls who are in love, they will do whatever it takes to obtain luck. Keep your head up and don't hide it. Everyone will be happy for you. Knowing the source of Xiao Yi's troubles, Yunxi's suggestion is to tell the secret. But in this case, I feel like I am betraying everyone. I don't know what happened. It seems that my chest started to get bigger overnight. Obviously, I didn't use the demon dragon blood. Xiao Yi shyly put her hand into her clothes and untied the bandage that made her chest tight. Poof! The elastic mountain peaks released from the bondage made lovely sounds and immediately filled up the seemingly ordinary parts. Among the civilian fiction girls of the Starwing Nights, the size of her chest was too detached. Sometimes, talent is really important. This talent of magic source proves that Xiao Yi is very suitable to become a witch, and even has the potential to become a great witch. After all, the total magic power of a witch is the size of her chest. Goo! Yunxi's throat shrugged as he looked at the tips that had swelled after she untied the bandage. He knows the size, but seeing it personally is totally different from the cold data. Xiao Yi's chest is really developing well. I'm afraid that other girls will reject me when they know this secret. In the village where I lived, something terrible happened when someone suddenly got a treasure that everyone didn't have. Everyone started to envy that person and repel that person. Finally, that person could no longer stay in his village and had to leave the village. Xiao Yi's eyes were dim, as if she remembered something bad. That person, in fact, is herself. Yunxi can understand that feeling. This kind of thing often happens in closed and backward areas. Because the vision is too narrow, because everyone is poor, people can't accept that someone suddenly becomes rich, so they can't regard the rich as the same kind, even if that person was once poor. However, this kind of thing will not happen in the Starwing Nights. Because they are connected with Yunxi by seeds, they are an unusual special group. Because of this, Xiao Yi can awaken the talent of the witch in her body, which is the most suitable talent for her. Believe it, trust the people you trust. You value them so much, and they will certainly value you so much. You don't need to feel inferior because your chest is getting bigger. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Xiao Yi looked at Yunxi with a flushed face and nodded. Well, I like the enlarged chest, which is my dream. Girls' dreams are always picturesque, but why are the dreams of the Starwings Nights girls almost all breast fetishism? Yunxi looked into the distance with confused eyes. Chapter 855. Common Dream. After seeing Xiao Yi off, Yunxi welcomed another familiar figure. This guest was Xiao Ye's best friend. I know a secret. Xiaomi looked at Yunxi with pitiful eyes, just like a girl who accidentally ate the forbidden fruit. Is it about the chest? Yunxi is almost familiar with the common troubles of the Starwing Nights. Well, it must be an illusion. An illusion. Wow, the master is really smart. Xiaomi's eyes sparkled with hope and nodded desperately, just like a little dog who wanted to be touched by its owner. It's the trouble of the chest. I know what I shouldn't know. Master, you should know that we, the Starwing Knights, want to fight against the demon dragon. I know this plan, but isn't it a joke? Yunxi looked at the excited Xiaomi. The eight-headed demon dragon is the strongest king who has escaped successfully under the siege and pursuit of many flat-chested female gods, great mages, and immortals, and has occupied the first place on the wanted list of the endless gods' domains all year round. The Starwings Knights, who only have a few hero-ranked girls, is impossible to meet the legendary cunning demon dragon and obtain its blood. Despite the fact that this plan is still in its early stages, we have already seen results. Only there is a traitor among us. Speaking of this, Xiaomi's eyes became fierce. Does she mean Xiaoyi? Shouldn't we bless Xiaoyi whose chest becomes bigger? She had a moment of doubt about the relationship between the girls of the Starwing Knights. Xiaoyi. I saw her secretly taking a bath at midnight. When I wanted to wash with her, I accidentally saw her secret. Her chest has become so big. Xiaomi reached out her hands like holding a round big watermelon, with a frightened face. No, it's not that big. If you hang a watermelon on your chest, something will happen. It's probably the size of a plump pear melon. This is wrong. Why doesn't she tell us? Xiaomi was obviously very confused. On the other hand, Xiaoyi is her good friend. On the other hand, it's every one of the Starwing Knights. Are you jealous? She launched the six-eyed demon mask's ability and listened to the girl's heart. Of course, I would be jealous. Xiaoyi hid this secret from me and everyone. Xiaomi had a righteous expression, which seemed to be the kind of thing Xiaoyi was most worried about. However, She believes that the Starwing Knights is not the village where Xiaoyi was born. It is different here. She should have said it. Why should she treat this as a secret? This is obviously the most worthy thing for everyone to celebrate. In this way, our civilian faction of the Starwing Knights has a representative who can make Mei happy. Why do you involve me? She looked at Xiaomi with a confused look on his face. I wonder if she will give everyone a surprise when her chest becomes bigger. So, I want to keep this secret for her, but I have to endure very, very hard. Now that I have said it, I feel happy at once. Xiaomi patted her chest. Although her chest was not as big as Xiaoye's, it already has a pretty size. I think this secret should be no longer a secret immediately. She breathed a sigh of relief. Sure enough, everyone in the Starwing Knights has a gentle and tolerant heart. Xiaoye's worry is totally unnecessary. The changes in her body are exactly what the Starwings Knights wants to see. The Starwings Knights, who all have a breast fetish. How can they reject such a lovely Xiaoyi? Is Xiaoyi going to say it? Seemed to have thought of something, Xiaomi looked at Yuanxi with surprise. Yuanxi nodded. This secret has been no longer a secret since Xiaoyi left here. She has gained confidence in facing other girls of the Starwing Knights. Big chest, for the Starwing Knights, is a kind of belief. That's great. Long live Xiaoyi. I also want to know what secret recipe she used that makes her chest become so big. Did she get the rare demon dragon blood? Xiaomi's eyes sparkled. It was an infinite longing and hope. It is the ultimate fantasy of the Starwing Knights to let their chests get bigger and then be loved by someone. I don't think so. Yuanxi's mouth twisted. The legend that the dragon blood of the multi-headed demon dragon could enlarge the breast really drove the girls crazy. From the goddesses to the girls of the Starwing Knights, the girls all placed their hopes on the demon dragon. The legendary dragon, who is strong enough to fight several legend-ranked beings at the same time, is wanted by the entire endless gods' domains because its blood can enlarge girls' breasts. It's really tragic. It can only be said that it is too unfortunate to be found that its dragon blood can enlarge breasts. You are innocent, but a big chest is the dream of countless girls. Chapter 856. Special guest that night, with a shy expression, Xiaoyi opened her mind and showed her enlarged chest to other girls of the Starwing Knights. Xiaoyi, you finally said it. Xiaomi hugged her good friend and rubbed her chest with great strength. Ling Ling was like a little dog. She smelt and gave a very high evaluation. Yes, good breasts. Great. It seems that we still have hope. Although this is a special case, Mei Lan was very pleased to see the rapid growth of Xiaoye's chest. Really, why should we hide such a good thing? It's great. I'm so envious, Xiao Yi. Did you eat something good? Yes, hurry up. Tell the truth in hand in the latest recipe. Woo-woo-woo, why can't I meet such a good thing? Yunshi smiled and looked at the noisy Starwings Knights. As he imagined, even if Xiao Yi told her secret, she was not rejected by her companions. There is envy and jealousy, but they will not regard Xiao Yi as an alien at all, but really feel happy for her. Thank you. Thank you all. My diet is milk in the morning, banana milk at noon, papaya milk at night. Xiao Yi was like a petted animal, showing a happy and coquettish expression and revealing her breast enhancement package. Well, this diet is not strange at all. It is a diet that is very popular in the Starwings Knights recently. Originated from the dessert set meal of a secretary of the Starwing Knights. Yes, that is the one who is staying with Xiao Yi at the moment. Ling Ling, what the master said, is really true. Looking at the friends around her, Xiao Yi was intoxicated with a sense of happiness. Yunshi felt that the six-eyed demon mask in his arms also exuded a satisfying atmosphere. It seemed that it had gained a lot from the girls of the Starwing Knights. The heart-asking cabin has only opened for 2 days, and Yunshi has received dozens of young girls. Among them, about 10% of them are hair fetishists. In addition, there are 15% of girls are maid fetishists. Lesbian fetishists are up to 20%. The largest, breast fetishism, exceeded 30%. In addition to these main fetishisms, there are also strange fetishisms such as foot fetishism, princess fetishism, unrequited love, I just want to be trampled on by a big sister, etc. If he had not listened to the girls' descriptions, Yunshi would never have imagined that the talented girls in the White Lotus Sword Palace would have so many complex sexual habits. Yunshi felt deeply inadequate for his shallowness, and at the same time, he became more aware of the strength of the Paranormata Vasavartan scroll. In only 2 days or so, he had collected about 1/10 of the emotional power needed to use the six-eyed demon mask. The Paranormata Vasavartan scroll is indeed the Buddhist cultivation method recommended by Linga, the secret treasure of White Lotus. It is really easy to use. At this rate, he should be able to complete the introductory chapter of the Paranormata Vasavartan scroll this month and successfully use this six-eyed demon mask. Yunshi also expressed his curiosity about what kind of demon this six-eyed mask would show. While Yunshi worked hard to cultivate the Paranormata Vasavartan scroll, the news about heart-asking cabin finally began to spread in the White Lotus Sword Palace. Almost all the girls in the White Lotus Sword Palace knew about this little secret. Finally, the news reached the real owner of White Lotus Sword Palace. In the Witch Palace, in front of the altar of the twin witches, White Lotus, wearing the ring of stars and the moon, was beating the golden balance in front of her, discussing the secret of the so-called heart-asking cabin with her sister Red Lotus, the mysterious person who can see through the hearts of others. When did we have that kind of outsider in the White Lotus Sword Palace? Red Lotus seemed puzzled. As the highest witch in White Lotus Sword Palace, she had never heard of such a person here. The identification number is this? White Lotus looked at the special sign of the heart-asking cabin displayed by the guard boundary of White Lotus Sword Palace, and a mysterious smile appeared on her lips. The cabin was recognized by the White Lotus Sword Palace, and naturally integrated into the whole White Lotus Sword Palace's guard system, even ranking in the top 5 of system priority. She knew what this meant. In the White Lotus Sword Palace, there is only one person who can do this, not the current White Lotus Sword Master. His standing was much lower than the heart-asking cabin in the White Lotus Sword Palace. The heart-asking cabin has the highest authority, while the White Lotus Sword Master has only secondary authority. In this way, the identity of the owner of the heart-asking cabin is almost clear. There is only one person with the highest authority in the White Lotus Sword Palace, except them. That is a special authority obtained from the Sky Sword. It's a very honored guest, sister. I heard that his suggestions on love are very effective. Shall we go and see him? After knowing who the owner of the heart-asking cabin was, White Lotus couldn't wait to see him. I'm not interested in love or anything. As long as you are in White Lotus, I don't need any love. Red Lotus's face suddenly turned red and protested fiercely. Unfortunately, just like countless protests in the past, Red Lotus, who dotes on her sister endlessly, would pick stars in the sky if White Lotus asked. So on the third day of the opening of the heart-asking cabin, She met a pair of special guests. E&D, field separation characters. If you are reading on a pirate site, you will see this. Welcome to read our novels on Engine.com, where you can read more chapters in advance. 5. FCQ is Tysty. Chapter 857. The Visiting Twin Witches. Damn, how is it them? She's heart thumped when he saw that extremely special pair of figures. He took advantage of the special permission he got from Cassina, the battle god, to build the heart-asking cabin in White Lotus Sword Palace. He thought it was a secret. As a result, the secret that girls know can no longer be a secret. It's like secretly planting fruit trees in someone else's garden, and the owner of the garden comes to visit. She felt a little guilty. Yes, there won't be any problem, will there? She pressed the six-eyed demon mask on his face, which is a magic mask from the Paranormata Vasavartan scroll. It can completely change his temperament, and he now appears as a male. No one will connect him with May. Most of the Stars Knights have come to the heart-asking cabin to talk to him, and no one has found the truth behind the six-eyed demon mask. It's okay. At least Red Lotus will never find out. The problem is White Lotus. She has never seen through this mysterious witch. Unlike her sister, who is impulsive, belligerent, and very easy to understand, White Lotus always has a slight smile on her mouth, which gives people an ethereal feeling. When she appears in front of people, most of the time she gives a trustworthy sense of stability. She is the brain of the twins. Only in front of she will appear sweet and lovely, like a child who knows nothing about the world. Every time he meets White Lotus, she feels that his shallow wisdom has been seen through. White Lotus wisdom can be described as the wisdom similar to that of gods. She has the highest spirituality in she's cognition, and at the same time, she has the observation power that ordinary people can't imagine. She can always reach out to help she when he needs it most. Hey, liar, tell me honestly how much you cheated here. Red Lotus glared at she, who was wearing the six-eyed demon mask. It looked like she was going to fight if he didn't agree. I don't charge here. She looked at White Lotus, who put on with a smile on her face after coming in. Did she see anything? Is there a flaw? After revealing the seed connection with the twin witches, she can feel the Red Lotus in front of him like a burning flame. In contrast, White Lotus is like a deep sea, containing everything. Water and fire are two extremes, but they fit together perfectly in the twin witches. No charge. Red Lotus suddenly didn't know what to say. It doesn't make sense. Did you come to White Lotus Sword Palace to open a small house and do charity for free? Wait, there must be a conspiracy, a big conspiracy. Is it to cheat ignorant girls and do bad things to them? There's definitely a problem. Red Lotus beat the table excitedly and almost drew her sword at she, saying, I will do justice for heaven, or I will punish you for the sake of the moon. To be honest, do you mean to be unfaithful to our students in the Sword Palace? Have you done anything to them? The more you thought about it, the more angry Red Lotus became, and she had determined that the mysterious person in front of her was the enemy. This was from her intuition. So when she saw the guy in front of her, she felt angry. Sister, don't be too anxious. I believe this guest will not do such things. As always, White Lotus came out to support she at the right time, with a smile of expectation. Is it, Mr. Mystery Man? We are the witches of White Lotus Sword Palace. Won't you entertain us? I wonder if there is any delicious bread. She must know. A cold sweat fell behind she. The first time she met him, she could recognize him in the real world just by the clues in her dreams. At that time, he was an ordinary baker. Bread. Red Lotus's expression suddenly became gloomy because she had a strange dream a few days ago. In her dream, she ate a lot of delicious bread and was done a lot of shameful things by a man. Although she forgot most of it when she woke up, the smell and familiar taste of bread in her mouth could not dissipate for a long time. This dream was really strange. What prince? What drama to save the world? What was this? Since having the dream of becoming a sleeping princess in the forest with White Lotus, everything has become abnormal. Damn prince, if I see you in the real world, I will kill you 10,000 times. No bread. She shook his head. After thinking for a while, he finally found something to entertain the twin witches. This is a treasure that even his teacher, Cassina the battle god, would covet. It is a treasure from Hydra, the water god. Mortals are absolutely not allowed to drink. Even a drop will corrode their flesh and blood, but the twin witches in front are obviously qualified to drink this. Think of it as the room fee paid to them. After all, he really rented this place. He also used the authority of Cassina, the battle god, to integrate this place into the White Lotus Sword Palace's guard system. Would you like a drink? She took out the wine glass of Hydra. The real name is Hydra's Wine Warehouse, which is in the form of a wine cup. It stores the divine wine brewed by Hydra the water god from ancient times to the present. With She's current constitution, he can drink up to 3 glasses a day, and the number of times he can use the glass is just at the limit his body can bear. My lovely bride, are you satisfied with this gift? Although the wine is good, you can't drink too much, Hydra the water god. This smell? Red Lotus shrugged her nose and smelled the extraordinary green liquid in She's wine glass. This is... White Lotus also opened his eyes wide and looked at She, who took out Hydra's poison wine with surprise. Field separation characters. If you are reading on a pirate site, you will see this. Welcome to Read Our Novels on Xiangxi where you can read more chapters in advance. 6. Ukazizliastolks. Chapter 858. Their hobbies. What kind of wine is this? Contrary to usual, Red Lotus looked at She with desire and even licked her lips involuntarily. According to She's experience in the heart-asking cabin for 3 days, Red Lotus was tempted. Well, does Red Lotus like drinking? It smells very special. It's pure brewing wine. What material is used for brewing pure pulp? No, the taste is agar pulp method? Year. Although not as excited as her sister Red Lotus, White Lotus was also obviously interested in the wine in She's wine glass, which is a very ancient rank in some gods' domains, whose duties are sacrifice, winemaking, and ceremonies. White Lotus knows all the famous wines, but she can't see the details of the green wine in She's wine glass. The brewing method seemed to be the oldest one, but she couldn't see more from it. The only thing she knows is that this is the highest quality wine, and the materials used are extremely precious. Don't you want to bribe me? The wine must be poisoned. Red Lotus tried to back away from the good wine in She's wine glass, feeling something strange with her intuition. There's something wrong with this wine. Well, it's poisonous wine. People with poor constitutions can't drink it. With the blessing of Hydra the water god, he can drink only 3 cups a day, and he only drinks quietly when no one is around. It has to be said that Hydra's good wine is just like her body, very tempting. Every time he drank a cup, he can feel more vitality surging through his body, and this is because most of the wine's power is absorbed by the battle god's seed in his body. It seems that the battle god seed from Cassina the battle god is sated by Hydra's poisonous wine. The seeds that should have been consumed gradually with She's repeated use actually recovered. Poisonous wine, as expected. White Lotus stretched out her snow-white fingers, gently dipping a little Hydra's poison on her finger and placing it on the tip of her tongue. Just by touching a drop of liquor, White Lotus's snow-white face immediately became a little red. This smell is a raw material I don't know. Toxic, highly toxic. But it's the best wine. Red Lotus swallowed and looked at White Lotus, who was tasting the wine with conflicted and expectant eyes. The year is, yes. With her rich wine-tasting knowledge, White Lotus finally knew the brewing date of Hydra's poison liquor. That's really an incredible number. It's unimaginable. Over 10,000 years. God. 1,000 years of brewing wine is almost the limit. If there is no special storage method and environment, no matter how good the wine is, it will solidify. The good wine of 10,000 years represents the vicissitudes of the times and is a treasure that requires countless human and material resources to store. Moreover, the age of this poisoned wine is far more than 10,000 years, which can be traced back to the era of the gods. In the age of gods, there had never been a lack of heroic gods and great heroes, all of whom were alcoholics and even fought for good wine. The wine brewed in that era is also known as the highest masterpiece of the endless gods' domains. This glass of wine is worthy of a palace. Even legend-ranked existences would go crazy for it. At this moment, there was such a glass of wine right there. Even White Lotus felt incredible. Her prince, is he even willing to give them the wine that can even make legend-ranked existences dribbling? Over 10,000 years, that's. Red Lotus could no longer look away from the crystal-clear emerald wineglass in Yunshi's hands. Even the twin witches have never seen the real wine of gods. This smell, this irritation. White Lotus blushed. The good wine of gods, as its name suggests, is prepared for the gods. Twin switches have incredible magical power, but their physique is far from reaching the level of Cassina, the battle god. Just a drop of liquor makes White Lotus feel a sense of inebriation. The diluted Hydra's venom contained in the verdant liquor constantly stimulated White Lotus' body. The stimulation was quickly transmitted to the body of Red Lotus through the link between them. The feeling of twins at this time is also synchronizing. What is this? Red Lotus's cheeks also slowly turned red, looking at the wine glass in Yunshi's hands with desire. It was a look of extreme desire and endurance. No, I can't. Drinking will lead to trouble. Red Lotus has two villains fighting in her mind. It doesn't matter. 1 cup, just 1 cup. You can't even get drunk after drinking 100 cups of wine. Drink. No, no, no. Unconsciously, Red Lotus found herself on the edge of the cliff, that is, Yunshi's desk. In the fierce struggle, Yunshi just put the last straw on the camel's back. He put the cup of Hydra's poisoned wine, which had been tasted by White Lotus, in front of Red Lotus. Goo. Red Lotus couldn't help it anymore. 1 cup, just 1 cup. Nothing will happen. No matter how strong the wine is, you can drink it in one go. With such fearless courage, Red Lotus bravely picked up the emerald green wine glass in the drunk eyes of White Lotus and drank the wine in one gulp. Look, there's nothing to be afraid of. I won. Red Lotus licked the green liquor still left on her lips with a proud expression of, I am the winner. Sister, you're drinking too fast. White Lotus wanted to stop her sister, but it was too late. The wine can't be drunk like this. Something very bad will happen if you drink it like this. END, field separation characters. If you are reading on a pirate site, you will see this. Welcome to read our novels on Xiangxi where you can read more chapters in advance. 0. Elgtes Lexii. Chapter 861. White Lotus, sobbing. It's a nightmare. Red Lotus slumped into Yunshi's arms, her bra half falling, and her face was impassioned. Drunken, she looked at Yunshi with eyes that were so wet that would make people feel excited. No, it's a dream, sister. Even if we are cursed like this, we can also love and be loved in our dreams. White Lotus was also drunk, but her eyes were still full of spirituality. Can we also get happiness? Obviously. I just need White Lotus, nothing else. I have nothing but White Lotus. Red Lotus shed a lot of tears, showing her weak side in front of Yunshi for the first time. I like my sister, but I also like the world. Even if our destiny is bound, I also want to have wings, to fly. White Lotus gently hugged her crying sister and smiled at Yunshi. We are inseparable twins of destiny. Whether it's joy, sadness, or curse, all of them we feel the same. My prince from the stars, give us wings. Yunshi stared at the twins in his arms and seemed to know them for the first time. It turns out that even the twin witches that Huahu admires have their troubles. Red Lotus gave up everything for her sister. There is almost nothing in her world except White Lotus. White Lotus knows everything. She also likes her sister, but she doesn't want to be bound by the curse of twins. She longed for the wings that could fly and the brilliance that could break the shackles. They are all the same, innocent and lovely, but expressed in different ways. Red Lotus aggressiveness and White Lotus wisdom are the weapons they use to fight against fate. Red Lotus will not trust anyone except White Lotus. White Lotus chose to trust Yuan-Shi, the prince she chose. The prince of White Lotus is not the son of the king in the world of the Dragon War, but the hope that she brings dawn to the son of her chosen destiny. Is this really? Okay. Yuan-Shi, who knew that White Lotus had seen his true identity, took off his six-eyed demon mask. In front of her, there is no need to hide any secret, or it is difficult to hide even if you want to. Wearing the ring of stars and moon, she seems to have a natural ability to see through his disguise. No matter whether he is disguised as the great sword maid or a demon, she can use her gentle eyes to find his real body. I am, obviously, very ordinary. You don't know this, but not long ago, I was just an ordinary baker. White Lotus covered her sister's eyes and smiled gently. I know, my prince, Yuan-Shi. It doesn't matter what's your origin, where you come from, or what race you are. I believe that you can create miracles because you have the courage to kiss us. In the impermanent darkness, only you are willing to approach us and break the darkness of our destiny. Haven't you noticed that no one, except you, will look at us with normal eyes? We are the twins of fate, but also cursed. My sister is afraid that I will be hurt, so she tries her best to protect me from the dark side of the world. She's just too worried about me. So, give up everything. White Lotus's fingertips gently stroked the drunken Red Lotus's hair and told Yuan-Shi, I like such a sister. She is irreplaceable to me. If my sister dies, I can't live. This is our destiny. Therefore, I hope that my sister and I will be happy together. My sister will also like the person I like. She won't really hate you. Her bravado is because she is more self-abased than I am, and she can't believe that someone really likes us like this. Yuan-Shi hesitated for a moment, but still couldn't understand. Why does she think so? You are so beautiful and lovely. White Lotus shook her head and raised her hand that was connected with Red Lotus's hand with a silk thread. This is the proof of the inseparable fate of twins, and it is also a curse. It is a foreign object that connects the two people at the beginning of their birth. We are really different. Our birth was a huge mistake. In the history of witches, there have never been monsters like us. My sister and I know this, so we can't open our hearts to anyone. Most people are actually afraid of us and can't regard us as human beings. Maybe they are not wrong. We may really be inhuman things. Therefore, we can have such power. As the price of obtaining power, we are no longer regarded as mortals, but the embodiment of the will of gods. As witches, we are the best. However, the more excellent a witch is, the less human she is. Then she paused and her cheeks turned red. Only you, the prince, can really tell us how beautiful and lovely we are. You have enough courage to contact us, accept us and kiss us. Only you like this can be our prince. We don't allow a second person to kiss us or touch our bodies. The first time and the last time. The witch will only be dedicated to the person she loves, and she will never regret being put into the fire and burnt to ashes. This is the last freedom of the witches who give themselves to the gods. Ah, is that so? Yuan-Shi remembered the first trial task given to him by the will of the great stars, and he felt that he could not laugh or cry. It seems that the great stars have already understood the particularity of the twin witches and guided him to kiss them awake. It turns out that the origin of everything is the task of waking up the princess. Destiny is indeed a wonderful thing. Actually, I'm not as good as you think. I escaped from terrible things, and I have powerful enemies that I can never defeat. I can't give you any guarantee, because I don't know how long I can live. Even so, are you willing to look at me like this? This is Yuan-Shi's answer to White Lotus, and it is also his rare voice to disclose to others. Chapter 862. Hua Hua, in this life, I will only love you. Even if I turns into ashes, I will come to you, my prince. If this is not love, then there will be no love in the world. White Lotus and Yunshi's fingers crossed, looking at each other. Perhaps only when she was drunk to this extent could she speak her mind without any restriction. Yunshi was drunk. It's clear that he didn't drink even a drop of Hydra's poison wine, but he was still drunk. He gently opened his lips to say something. White Lotus was waiting for his answer. Even Red Lotus opened her eyes vaguely and looked at Yunshi with hot eyes. Well, he always thought that kind of look was very terrible. It was like he was someone who took away her most important treasure, her sworn enemy. At this time, a new visitor arrived outside the heart-asking cabin. Go, go. A simple and powerful knock on the door with a rhythm, which made Yunshi suddenly cold behind. It was an extremely bad premonition, just like being caught when derailing. Yunshi was really familiar with the rhythm of knocking at the door, because he had heard of it countless times when he was still the baker in the small town. The guy who bothers other people's love is really disliked. The expectation in White Lotus's eyes suddenly became helpless. There is no problem for anyone except this person. Even if Cassina the battle god came from outside, it would not be more difficult than this person. Woo! Before Yunshi had time to react, his lips were blocked by White Lotus. It was a kiss from a girl who was unwilling to give up. It was also a kiss that announced that she would never admit defeat. The smooth tongue constantly demanded everything from Yunshi. Although its proficiency was not comparable to that of Yunshi, the affection contained in it made Yunshi feel soft. Yunshi once again tasted the ice cream flavor of White Lotus, and he ate enough at one time. One day, Prince, you will understand. We will never give up. After kissing Yunshi forcefully, White Lotus grabbed the mark and used the highest authority of White Lotus Sword Palace to create a hole in the wall of the heart-asking cabin and hid inside with her wobbly sister. Obviously, she didn't give up. At this time, it seemed to be aware of something. The knock on the door outside the heart-asking cabin became rapid, like the prelude to a storm. Here comes. Yunshi, a little guilty, put on the six-eyed demon mask again and opened the door. Strange, why didn't you open the door? Not surprisingly, it was Hua Hua, Yunshi's invincible childhood sweetheart and first love, who was knocking on the door. You are. Yunshi never thought that his heart-asking cabin would let him meet Hua Hua. Does she also have love troubles? The taste is very similar. Hua Hua shrugged her nose, and the green hair on her head pointed straight at Yunshi. This is the man. If this knife-shaped green hair could speak, it will definitely shout out. Why am I so upset? Have we met? Hua Hua looked at Yunshi with suspicious eyes. She always felt that this mysterious man had a vague sense of familiarity. It seems that Yunshi is somewhat similar to this person when he grows up. That kind of stable and calm temperament was very similar to her little Shi's. Maybe we once saw each other a long time ago. At that time, you were still young. Yunshi said the true lie without changing his tone. Did you really know me in the Western Gods domain? Hua Hua nodded, which was regarded as approval of Yunshi's answer. Although they were all terrible memories, and she didn't like her life there, the sense of familiarity can be explained in this way. The person in front of her emitting a little inhuman smell. He should be a demon. However, since he has obtained the permission of White Lotus Sword Palace to operate here, he should not be a man-eating monster. There are also many kinds of demons, and the demons that can make her feel good are rare. This time, forgive this demon who lives in the human world. Your strength is to listen to human troubles? Sitting in front of Yunshi, Hua Hua smelled the residual smell in the air. It's a very strange fragrance, mixed with strong wine fragrance and female fragrance, and this fragrance gives people a feeling of burning all over the body. It is a kind of incense that can promote blood circulation. The ingredients even include the legendary elf's golden orchid, who in the Sword Palace is so extravagant and carries this level of sachet. This is a magic medium that can be used to perform some high-level spiritual secrets. Yes, but I'm just listening. I can't guarantee any useful suggestions. Love. Sometimes there is no answer. Facing Hua Hua, Yunshi was under tremendous pressure. Why? He just wants to quietly hide here to cultivate the Paranimita Vasavartan scroll. How could he be involved in such a terrible scene? Fortunately, Huahua didn't seem to see through the Paranirmita Vasavartan scroll, but the rotating green hair cluster above her head seemed to have found something. In Yunshi's memory, this green hair cluster was not so conspicuous before. When did it upgrade? Well, can you see why I'm upset? Huahua also broke into the heart-asking cabin on a whim, and she couldn't explain why. It seems that if she didn't break in, something terrible would happen to her in this heart-asking cabin. This was her strong instinct. She scanned Yunshi with her special search radar. Well, today's White Lotus Sword Palace is also full of red alerts. Since you will come here, are you also worried about love? Yunshi asked carefully. Yes, I have been worried recently. Huahua sighed. Is it true that only when you are hugged by someone you like, can you have complete love? The troubles of girls in love are so dreamy. Chapter 863. The Trouble of Childhood Sweetheart. This should vary from person to person. Yunshi looked at his childhood sweetheart with sweat. Is she aware of something? White Lotus and Red Lotus were right beside him now. Prince, do you want to hold her in front of us? It seemed that after listening to Yunshi's troubles, the voice of White Lotus suddenly appeared in Yunshi's ears, causing his mouth to twist. At this time, what kind of expression should I show? But what my daughter has done, I can't do myself. I have shared the memory of my daughter, that kind of thing. Huahua blushed, unspeakably cute and moving. Although she didn't see that the mysterious person in front of her was Yunshi, she naturally showed her most beautiful side. The girl in puberty is so full of temptation. Well, this trouble, I can't help it. Yunshi could hardly look at Huahua's face directly. Did she actually share the memories of four Zakas in the Dragon War world? In that trial, he and the four Zakas had a lot of shameful memories. Desert Dragon Zaka's wild swaying waist. Ice Dragon Zaka's creamy white skin. Red Dragon Zaka's chest. Black Dragon Zaka's curiosity. No, the nosebleed is coming out. People in the trial can't retain complete memory, only recall some of the most profound parts, but not Yunshi. He can remember it all. His skillful kissing and understanding of Zaka's bodies are 100% preserved. This is also the reason why he had to cultivate the Paranimita Vasavartan scroll. He could not guarantee that he would keep calm after facing the four Zakas in the real world. Rather, he could predict that he would certainly fall when facing the temptation of four Zakas. Without cultivating the Paranimita Vasavartan scroll, he can't survive it. In retrospect, they are all part of Huahua, so he has no resistance to them. They are just like his natural enemies. Compared with the reserved Huahua, they are just like young brides who are naturally fond of him and let him eat. The event of obtaining their hearts was completed as early as in the world of the Dragon War. Their bodies are so weak, even struggling is pointless. Just thinking of their shyness when they shed white socks, their lovely toenails on their white feet, and their smooth, delicate, and tender skin. Every bend of the snow-white calf, every twist of the slender body, and every whimper of the tender voice are so soft and tender. No, I'm delusional again. After returning from the Dragon War world and bumping into Desert Dragon Zaka in the real world, Yunshi found that his battle god seed was always ready to move. It seems as if it has remembered the life breath of Zakas. The battle god seed wants more from them. Of course, the main source is the girl in front of him. The original giant dragon, Huahua, has a total amount of essence that the four Zakas can't match. If he did the same thing with Huahua, he may get a terrorist force far greater than the four Zakas. Yunshi has this feeling. But that is not possible, because Huahua's holds the most special position in Yunshi's heart. He likes Huahua and regards her as his most important person, but because of this, he cannot hurt her so easily. He likes Huahua, and Huahua also likes him. Although they are obviously happy with each other, they both have a secret that cannot be told. Huahua knows this, and Yunshi also knows it. Both sides have a tacit understanding to keep silent. Yunshi won't ask where Huahua's power comes from. Huahua also kept silent about what the power Yunshi would awaken when he was 18 years old. and why his recent rapid development of cultivation. Yunxi likes everything about Huahua, and Huahua also likes everything about Yunxi. Therefore, both of them are waiting for themselves to become stronger, watching each other and protecting each other's secrets. This is a special relationship between Huahua and Yunxi, which can't be replaced by anyone. However, this special tacit understanding has changed due to the appearance of Zakas. Huahua saw the fate branch of falling in love with Yunxi if she didn't restrain herself. Yunxi has tasted in advance the taboos that should not be violated. Huahua was worried and didn't know how to face Yunxi. Yunxi was worried. He didn't know how to deal with Zakas. The troubles of girls and boys are intertwined, which makes the silent heart asking cabin full of the sour smell of love. Don't forget that there is White Lotus who just successfully confessed to Yunxi. Although Yunxi didn't give her answer, White Lotus reaped satisfactory results. The witch whose wisdom rivaled the gods has already seen through the entangled threads within the long river of destiny. There are the twins, Huahua and Yunxi, and many other girls in the Starwing Nights. Maybe it's not just love, but a lot of other things as well. However, the entangled threads of destiny can never be sorted out, which was a good sign for the White Lotus. Her Highness is the red thread that intersects and alters the threads that make up the river of destiny. I can't satisfy him, for some reason. Huahua clenched her teeth and seemed to have finally made her decision. But my daughters should be able to do it. Chapter 864. What constrains Huahua? What I hesitated was whether I really wanted my daughters to get close to him. Although my daughters are actually a part of me, they always feel strange. They have the courage I don't have. They can always love bravely, but I can't do it myself. I have things I can't say to him, and I have damned restrictions. Speaking of this, Huahua's expression became very unwilling. Yes, she could have done it. Whether in the small town or in the White Lotus Sword Palace now, there were many opportunities for her to get closer to little Shi. However, she is carrying an unusual fate, as the strength of her blood makes it particularly easy to be violent because of her emotions. If her sky-flying bloodline goes completely out of control when making love with little Shi, no, it will certainly go out of control, then the result is really terrible. This is why she likes little Shi so much, but she can't go further with him. The power of the sky-flying bloodline has brought her incredible combat power, but it has also brought her great trouble. Recently, her strength has increased faster and her form is more unstable than before, which is really a big problem. If she suddenly spread her wings in front of little Shi, it must be a great tragedy. Obviously, she also wants to have the opportunity to do things that lovers should do with little Shi. At this time, her strong bloodline became her biggest bondage. Alas, that's why she envies Zakas. So, that's really annoying. Yunxi was also struggling. He was also vaguely aware that Huahua never seemed to allow him to further contact her body. She seems to have some secrets that cannot be told, and she has always avoided further intimacy with him. However, Zakas, who were bred by the original dragon in her dreams, were so enthusiastic about him that they would even betray her. At that time, Yunxi found something hidden in Huahua. Is it not that she doesn't want to go further, but she can't? This kind of Huahua is pitiful and lovely, which makes Yunxi excited. I have been waiting for the time when I could really hold hands with him. I defeated all my opponents, but I was bound by myself. It's really unpleasant. One day, I will completely cut off all the shackles and gain real freedom, for some reason. It's a secret that can't be told to little Shi, but Huahua can tell it in front of this person. Perhaps it is because he has the shadow of little Shi when he grows up, which can give her a sense of peace of mind. Is that what you want, then? Yunxi always felt that he had heard things he should not have heard. The secret that Huahua has been carefully protecting has slowly revealed a tip of the iceberg. It turned out that the original giant dragon who reigned in the world of the Dragon War, the invincible childhood sweetheart in his mind, would also have some troubles. Yunxi still had great expectations for this scroll. Thank you. I think I understand what to do. Huahua was also surprised that the person had not raised any suggestions. She just said her troubles and naturally became refreshed. If little she grows up and becomes mature, can listen to her well and tolerate her everything, maybe it will be like this. It is clearly a demon, but it has some similarities to little she. Is this also fate? How much do you want? Hua brought out the red gemstones, which were the remaining flame gemstones from when Red Dragon Zaka was conceived. Just one of them could probably buy a city. No, it is free. I just need to listen to your troubles, and I'll be satisfied. She shook his head and looked at Hua more gently. The more you understand Hua, the more you understand her strength. The more you know about her, the more you will like her. As the two people grew, this feeling of liking has not weakened, but rather has increased every minute. Hua was the eternal brightness in his eyes, the star that will never disappear. If he can become the sun, then she must surely be the brightest star in the night sky. If I meet you on the battlefield in the future, I will let you go once. For Hua, this promise is thousands of times more precious than the gem. Her destiny makes her bound to step on the battlefield with the demons at a certain time. This is the mission brought by her blood. This promise will come true one day. Hua vaguely had such a premonition. The demon in front of her may be weak now, but he has some potential that she could not see through. In the future, this demon may even become famous in the entire Endless Gods domains. I think. We will never meet on the battlefield. She didn't know that his demon appearance had even attracted the attention of Hua. After all, for him, the talent of the six-eyed demon is just an accessory to the cultivation of the Paranimita Vasavartan scroll, just like the butter one gets when buying bread. Well, goodbye. With a sense of satisfaction, Hua left the heart-asking cabin. Shi's six-eyed demon mask has also collected the most terrible emotional power so far. Hua's emotions even filled one-third of the six-eyed demon mask. Shi looked at the sentiments collected by the six-eyed demon from his childhood sweetheart and showed an amused look. It turned out that his childhood sweetheart's desire is so mundane and lovely. In this way, half of the emotional power to cast the real body of the six-eyed demon mask has been collected. Click. Chapter 865. Changes, What Am I Really Like? She walked on the street of White Lotus Sword Palace, looking at the bustling street. Since the twin witches and Hua visited the heart-asking cabin, almost all the girls in White Lotus Sword Palace have known of the special features of the heart-asking cabin. In the days after that, she almost knew the secrets of all the girls in White Lotus Sword Palace who were worried about love. It has to be said that the little secret hidden in the girls' hearts really surprised Shi. It turns out that girls who are troubled by love also have so many strange habits. Foot fetishism, breast fetishism, Oedipia. Well, it's better not to expose these private secrets. The more Shi listens to the girl's troubles, the more upset he became. Cultivating the Paranimita Vasavartan scroll is more difficult than he imagined. The entire White Lotus Sword Palace provided him with roughly 60% of the power of emotion, which filled the four eyes of the six-eyed demon mask with the power of desire. So far, the introductory chapter of the Paranimita Vasavartan scroll has been completed. If he lets the monks who are willing to cross thousands of mountains and rivers find opportunities to cultivate it, they will be stunned. Since the Paranimita Vasavartan scroll was created, there was no such person as Shi. He didn't cut off evil karmas like the monks, but listened to girls' troubles. If the monks also did this, their cultivation base would have been destroyed. However, Shi is not a monk at all. His goal of cultivating the Paranimita Vasavartan scroll is very simple. During the cultivation of the Paranimita Vasavartan scroll, the only thing that Shi cared about was what White Lotus said to him, his real appearance. Why did she say that at that time? Why? The look in her eyes seemed to have many different meanings. Since that day, Shi has been troubled by this problem and began to reflect on what he has done recently. The trial of the Dark Fire Tower. The trial of the Water God World. The trial of the Dragon War. Every time he conducted a test of the Wood of the Stars, he would have an earth-shaking change. The ordinary baker who only dreamed of marrying a childhood sweetheart and living an ordinary life no longer exists. Because of the prompt of White Lotus, Yunshi was extremely aware of this now. Had I changed? Yunshi walked on a street that had become almost unfamiliar. This time, instead of using the disguise of Greatsword Mad, he used his real appearance. Anyone can also find that he is different from the past, but he has not realized this for a long time. Walking to the fountain in the center of a small square, Yunshi looked at his own shadow reflected on the water. How long has it been since he looked at himself like this? This familiar face has long been different from the boy in the small town. He has been blessed by Hydra the water god. With the star wings on his back, all the flaws on his skin have disappeared without a trace. Not only that, but also the plain face has become very soft and beautiful. Now he is moving towards some perfection. Maybe he is not as beautiful as the elf Kingfisher, but he is also beyond the boundaries of ordinary people. Just gazing at his soft face will give one a sense of calm and peace. Pulling out the star wings, Yunshi stared at his reflection in the water. Time seems to be at a standstill at this moment, releasing a transparent white glow from the star wings. It's the white light from the distant blue sky, from the place above the infinitely deep clouds. As long as you see her with your eyes, your mind will be calm. As long as you hear her footsteps with your ears, your body will be quiet. As long as you touch her light, your soul will be at peace. Whispers from the other side of the starry sky echoed in Yunshi's ears. Is this me? What am I really like now? Yunshi looked at the reflection in the water and almost doesn't know the identity of the boy smiling at him in the water. Who are you? Where do you come from? And where do you go? What's your name? It's obviously me, but it doesn't seem to be me or what I think I am. In the eyes of the Starwing Knights, he is Mei, the black-haired maid who brings them luck. In the eyes of Huahua, he is the most important childhood sweetheart. In order to protect him, she even forced him to wear women's clothes and act as the Greatsword Maid. In such an environment, Yunshi almost forgot that he was once an ordinary bakery owner and a teenager who lived an ordinary life before his 16th birthday. I really changed. Yunshi sighed. Without the hint from White Lotus, how long will he find it? He can't go back. If he wants to become stronger, he has to take Huahua as the goal and constantly increase his racial limit, which also means that his life level is constantly improving. His snow-white skin, smooth black hair, strong and powerful heartbeat, and his temperament somehow changed are all naturally accompanied by the rise of life levels. In a word, it is beauty. The beauty that symbolizes order. The beauty that symbolizes truth. The beauty that symbolizes the harmony of all things. Power itself is the symbol of beauty, and extreme power often represents extreme charm. He stepped on the road of infinite transcendence, and he had already possessed in human charm unconsciously. Well, try it. Yunshi randomly found a target, a little girl who seemed to have lost touch with her relatives at the square and seemed to be about to cry. Chapter 866. The Colossus of Justice, Are You Sad? Yunshi came to the little girl who was wiping her eyes and trying very hard not to cry. No. I just got a little lost. The little girl was very polite, but the way she hugged the puppet in her arms revealed her uneasiness at the moment. Let me accompany you. Are you waiting for someone? Aware of the little girl's uneasiness, Yunshi smiled and reached out his hand and touched her head. Ah. The little girl who was about to cry suddenly relaxed and didn't resist the approach of Yunshi. When you are sad, you should eat something sweet. Yunshi shook his finger, and then bread and butter formed between his hands. Wow! The little girl's eyes suddenly widened. Is this supernatural magic? Well, it seems that she is a well-educated lady. Bread making is an extraordinary skill that can only be accomplished by a baker at the hero rank. Only the baker can make food out of nothing at the hero rank. It seems to be just a piece of bread, but making it involves some extremely profound world rules. Although the principle of equivalent exchange still exists, it is a weaving transformation of the power of the world. So it seems that there is bread-making magic, which is truly extraordinary magic. The great mages of the Western gods' domain can summon a meteor fire rain, but they can't make bread out of nothing. This is a different field. Yes, This is third-ranked bread. If you eat it, you won't be hungry. Yunshi tore off a small piece of bread and butter and offered it to the little lady. Thank you, big brother. The little girl's eyes sparkled as if she had seen a hero. Only someone at the hero rank can make bread out of nothing. Aren't your relatives here? Yunshi quickly glanced around. There were no people in this small square who were anxiously looking for someone. It seems that the little lady's relatives are not in this area. Mom and Dad are gone. Speaking of this, the little girl bit her lips and tried to show a strong expression. Big brother, do you know where they are? Yunshi shook his head and stood up. This action made the little girl nervous. I'll help you. Don't worry. Yunshi comforted the little girl with a sad expression and made her laugh through her tears. What happened just now? When Yunshi gave the bread to the little girl, he felt a very strong murderous intent. Now, this feeling has not disappeared, and there is a trend of rising ships. Who is it? Watching the child. Such a strong murderous spirit should not have appeared to this child. So, it's him? Is he being watched? Who is it? Yunshi looked around. Ordinary people were everywhere. He was unable to find the person who has the evil intention. Not the square, but... Yunshi looked up and saw a giant statue on the roof of the building at the edge of the square. It's him. The colossus with the word justice emanating from all over his body leaped into the air directly and then crashed down like a towering mountain. Boom! The ground shook violently as if a meteorite had fallen. Let go of that girl. The red giant statue of justice roared, releasing an amazing threat at Yunshi. Air, is that you? Yunshi looked at the giant with a height of more than 3 meters, a body as hard as granite, and huge shackles on his neck and hands. At the Battle Gods competition, he once witnessed the majesty of this justice colossus. Unexpectedly, he came back to life so soon after dying under Xiao Chao's deadly sword. I won't say it a second time. Get away from her. The red giant of justice twisted his neck and stared at Yunshi murderously. Red Stone, the strong man of the red steel genre, came on stage again. Do you know him? Yunshi asked the little girl who was hiding behind him and shivering. I don't know. It's terrible. Normal people will fear when they see this giant statue of justice, a ferocious monster far beyond human imagination. It seems that you are ready to continue? Red Stone stared at Yunshi. From the first moment Yunshi met the little girl, he sensed that some evil atmosphere was wrapped around this human's body. How can ordinary human beings suddenly take out bread to trick a little girl? There's definitely a problem. This is an abduction used against an underage girl. What? Yunshi had an expression of, I don't know what you are talking about, which was in fact true. He had just tried to test the affinity he now had, and then gave a bread to the little girl who was separated from her relatives. Next, he was going to help her find her relatives. Why is this Justice Colossus so indignant? Don't admit it? You should be punished by heaven for your heinous crimes. Red Stone's eyebrows were burning. The strong men of the red steel genre, who are brave and vigorous and will never tolerate evil people, are all the embodiment of justice. They who seek to understand absolute power from the battle of life and death never fear evil. Well, have you misunderstood something? Yunshi couldn't help but look at Red Stone with a look of hatred. Is there any misunderstanding? From just now on, I found that you are not a good human. What are you going to do with this child? A series of crackling, crispy sounds came from Red Stone's body, which was a sign of the red steel genre secret art. Lava skin, blood of red steel, lava breath. After the battle of life and death with Xiao Chao, the barrier that had been blocking the further development of Red Stone finally broke. With profound accumulation, he successfully advanced to the 5th level of the hero rank. Now, he is one of the top 10 experts in the whole White Lotus Sword domain. Even against the master of the White Lotus Sword domain, he also has the chance to win. The experts of the red steel genre have always been the model of defeating the strong with the weak. Those who have trained to the extreme are almost the strongest at the same level. This has also caused their fiery temperament. Chapter 867. One punch, I just want to take this child to find her lost parents. She looked at Red Stone with a headache. Yes, Big Brother is the best. I want to be with my big brother. At this time, the little girl's solidarity was just to add fuel to the fire. For such a short time, even the words, to be with Big Brother, came out. Asshole. How dare you cheat on such a cute little girl? Innocent child. You don't know how dangerous the world is. This guy looks like a good man, but he must have no good intentions. If he kidnaps you, your life will be over. Little sister, come here and I will protect you. Red Stone stared at the little girl who hugged Yunshi's thigh, showed a scared expression, and tried to smile gently. However, compared with Yunshi with Red Stone's height of 3 meters and red skin, this smile is too ferocious. Whoa, whoa. The little girl cried and hid behind Yunshi timidly, not daring to look at the burning giant statue of justice. Alas, Yunshi saw the angry eyes of the other party and knew that he was in trouble. You made her cry. Red Stone roared. You are the one who scared her to cry. Yunshi looked at Red Stone in silence. If you are a man, just come to fight me for 100 rounds. Red Stone, who turned into a giant of justice, raised his fists and collided fiercely. Boom. The hot sparks exploded. Justice, never absent. I will punish you. This is one of the reasons why the disciples of the Red Steel genre always give people a headache. Fighting without saying a word is very common for them. Little sister, go there and wait. It will be over soon. Yunshi touched the little girl's head and asked her to leave this place that was about to become a battlefield. The people nearby ran away in fear when Red Stone appeared as the Giant of Justice. The fight between the hero-rank strong people is too dangerous for ordinary people. Well, come on, Big Brother. Knock down that monster. The little girl kissed Yunshi and ran out of the square. You bastard. How dare you to let such a small child kiss you? Seeing this scene, Red Stone's whole body began to burn with an unknown flame. At this time, he was not fighting alone. Fight. If he doesn't step on this damn face, he will not be Red Stone of the Red Steel genre, the Giant of Justice. I was entrusted by a young lady. If Yunshi was still the bakery owner from the past, he would have surrendered at this point. Not everyone had the courage to face this tall, red Giant of Justice. It was a battle force that could crush a country. However, the current Yunshi was not the same as the past Yunshi. He didn't retreat from the challenge of Red Stone. Since it doesn't make sense, it can only be communicated via a man's method. He was a disciple of Cassina, the battle god, and the owner of the battle god seed. He was instinctively eager to fight. If people don't offend him, he will not be impolite to them. This is Yunshi's own benchmark. When you meet a challenger, beat him until even his mother can't recognize him. Such is the teaching of Cassina, the battle god. In theory, the disciples of the battle god were more warlike than the disciples of the Red Steel. Yunshi's passive counterattack was an anomaly. The other disciples of Cassina, the battle god, were always the first to start a fight. Try your best to fight quickly. If the opponent was someone else, Yunshi may not be sure. However, the Red Steel genre is a martial arts genre that takes the hard body as its goal. And the hard body is Yunshi's talent. Exactly, the giant statue of justice thought so too. In the face of such a weak man, you don't need to consider any tactics, just crush him. Bang! Red Stone's 2 fists exchanged blows, his shoulders sank, and his muscles suddenly tightened. Boom! The next second, Red Stone turned into a righteous chariot burning red flames, rushing towards Yunshi. No other skills, just pure violence. The disciples of the Red Steel genre are so violent and capricious. They believe that power can defeat everything and cultivate their own bodies to a non-human level. This Justice Chariot is one of Red Stone's unique skills. He has crushed countless hard things for the purpose of practicing this skill. At first, it was a huge stone taller than himself. Next, there were hills one after another. Furthermore, he would even hit the crystal veins that were harder than steel. There is no upper limit to the power of this Justice Chariot. As expected, Yunshi knew what Red Stone was going to do when he saw his start. As a disciple of Cassina, the battle god, He has a deep understanding of the various secret arts of the red steel genre. The cultivation method of the red steel genre is never a secret in the endless gods' domains. However, the cultivation method is too painful. If there is no giant blood in your body, it is almost impossible for ordinary people to complete it. Forced cultivation often results in the collapse of the body. Not everyone is qualified to practice the hard body. Similarly, once the hard body is completed, the strong disciples of the red steel genre will have a truly immortal body, even in lava. Lava skin gives them defensive power like dragon scales. Lava breathing gives them endless energy. The blood of red steel endows them with destructive power like a volcanic eruption. The red steel genre strongmen, who have mastered all three great martial arts, are simply living giants on the battlefield. However, Yuan-Shi also mastered these skills. The ultimate goal of the three secret arts of the red steel genre is to obtain the hard body. Yuan-Shi's body had long adapted to the hard body. If you want to fight, I will accompany you. The battle god seed from Cassina, the battle god, trembled his body with excitement. Yuan-Shi took a deep breath, raised his left hand, and clenched his right hand into a fist, posing a pose. It is the most common fist posture, which is taught by all fighting schools. However, when Yuan-Shi posed this pose, he looked like a steady mountain. Standing on the earth, you are the son of mountains. The battle with Desert Dragon Zaka and the Crazy King before has brought the battle god seed of Yuan-Shi to a new stage. Yuan-Shi has always compared himself with his invincible childhood sweetheart Hua, so he never felt how great his growth was. He used this only because he instinctively felt that it was enough to deal with Red Stone, not caring who the enemy is, because he is undoubtedly stronger than them. He didn't even realize that the giant in front of him had just reached the 5th rank. Even in the entire White Lotus Sword domain, it could be ranked into the list of the top 10. After being abused by the Queen of Assyria of the Forgotten Ruins countless times and challenging the invincible original giant dragon with the 4 Zaka sisters, Yuan-Shi's battle awareness had already risen to an unimaginable level. Not everyone has the opportunity to revive in bonfire countless times, feel the great terror between life and death, and complete the sublimation of their flesh and blood. Yuan-Shi, who was seriously short of common sense, had a very simple benchmark for judging the enemy. Those who he can't win are like his invincible childhood sweetheart, Hua, mysterious twin witches, Cassina the battle god, Shea Longness the sky sword, and Lilibet, the guardian of the door. Those who he can win are probably Desert Dragon Zaka, Ice Dragon Zaka, Red Dragon Zaka, and Black Dragon Zaka. After seeing these strong people, his judgment of the enemy became very different from the common sense of the endless gods' domains. Redstone is strong, of course. Even if it's a fighter at the 6th rank, the person is not likely to defeat Red Steel. Redstone's Justice Chariot can crush anything even if it is a mountain in front of him. However, his opponent is not a mountain, but Yuan-Shi. With feet on the earth, Yuan-Shi stepped into the realm that all the Red Steel genre's disciples had long dreamed of. In his eyes, there was a burning flame. The battle god seed first expanded and then contracted. In this process, it released tremendous power instantly, like a storm blowing across the sea, like lightning across the sky, like lava erupting from deep underground. Redstone had cultivated all 3 secret marts of the Red Steel genre and finally broke through the barrier between the 4th and 5th rank of the hero rank. But Yuan-Shi had cultivated the ultimate state of the 3 secret arts of the Red Steel genre, the hard body. His breath was more scorching than Red Stone, who incarnated as a giant of justice. His heartbeat was as strong as a dragon. When he gathered his strength and stepped out of that step, the whole square suddenly trembled, as if a 50-meter-tall giant had stepped here. One punch. It's a simple punch. Probably even a beginner can give such a punch. Similarly, there is no limit to its power. The higher the user's physical quality is, the more powerful he will be. Redstone's Justice Chariot is recognized as one of the most powerful skills in the Red Steel genre. It is a move that compresses and explodes the force of life all over the body, and rushes across the enemy in a sweeping manner. After this move is used, it can even crush a mountain of knives and flames. Keep moving forward and never turn back. This is Red Stone's Justice Chariot. Until he met Yuan-Shi's fist. Yuan-Shi's fist seemed to be less than 1/10 of Red Stone's fist, but with one punch, like a storm, like lightning, like the fist of a volcano. Red Stone could even clearly see the moment when his shoulder collapsed by this fist. Ka, ka. The sound of broken bones and muscles. Bang. The sound of the body being knocked off, rolling like a sack. Red Stone's body, which weighs more than several tons, was blown away by Yuan-Shi's fist. He was crushed. Red Stone, who turned into the giant statue of justice, was crushed. Yuan-Shi's fist not only smashed Red Stone's Justice Chariot from the front, but also broke the huge shackles that could resist the attack of god weapons and blew Red Stone away. The terrible fist power effortlessly penetrated the defense of lava skin, exploded into Red Stone's flesh and blood, and made him vomit blood and roll instantly. At this moment, Red Stone even began to doubt the meaning of his life. Compared with physical pain, what made him crazy was what Yuan-Shi showed. That arrogant posture, that incomparable absolute power. Under this kind of power, his Justice Chariot is as fragile as a child's toy. He knows what kind of power it is and what kind of fist it is. Yuan-Shi's fists have brought Red Stone a familiar feeling. That is exactly the realm that all the strong men of the red steel genre pursue. The hard body. Bang! Red Stone fell from a height of hundreds of meters, smashing a big hole about 10 meters on the ground. His shoulder collapsed completely, and his whole body was almost out of shape. Ha 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 ha. However, Red Stone didn't feel upset, but instead gave out loud laughter from the bottom of his heart. Yes, this is it. The hard body is really invincible. Chapter 868. On a whim, this giant statue of justice is really hard. Yuan-Shi moved his wrist for a while, and it was not too difficult for him to blow the giant statue of justice away. After all, he had fought with Zaka sisters who really had the power of dragons. This fight is just a piece of cake for him. The hard body's power can be used to fight the giant dragon. The reason why he couldn't be invincible in the world of the Dragon War is that he faced two strong opponents. In actual combat, the hard body is powerful enough to make the hero-ranked enemies despair. Even Red Stone can't withstand such a blow. Now, can you calm down? Holding the little girl who ran to his side again, Yuan-Shi walked to the big pit and looked at Red Stone who was tottering up. Justice needs strength to support. Without enough strength, it is nothing. What kind of giant are you? Red Stone tore off his broken metal shackles. Even in the battle with Xiao Qiao, he was never beaten so badly. He had even no chance to free the shackles and fight with all his strength. Half of his body was basically destroyed, and ordinary human beings would have died long ago. The hard body's fist damaged not only his shoulders and muscles, but also his nerves and internal organs. I don't have the blood of any giant, it's hard body. Yuan-Shi looked at Red Stone, who had rashly attacked him, and hoped that he would exercise his justice after more consideration. Otherwise, he would die here sooner or later. At this time, Yuan-Shi still didn't realize the persistence of the red steel genre strong men and their ways of thinking. Sure enough, I believe you. The owner of the hard body, you are a friend of the red steel genre. Although he was dying, Red Stone still laughed while vomiting blood. Heir, you are going to die. Yuan-Shi was sure of the power of his fist. His punch was enough to kill any ordinary person. However, the body structure of the red steel genre strong men is completely different from that of a human, so Red Stone can withstand Yuan-Shi's punch. Next time, let's fight again. What's your name? Red Stone, who found that he was still bleeding, looked curiously at Yuan-Shi in front of him. What kind of person is this? If you only look at his body size, he will not believe that such a person can cultivate the hard body. Is it a natural gift? That's too enviable. This is the ultimate fantasy of all the disciples of the red steel genre. In order to obtain this talent, the fighters of the red steel genre can do whatever it takes. 1,000 days of hard work under the waterfall, running in the sunset with huge tires. Do not eat or drink on the ice and snow plateau. In order to cultivate the hard body, these lethal cultivation methods are common to the red steel genre's fighters. The red steel genre would have been destroyed if it had not been for the vitality state skill to save their lives. Yunxi, have a good rest. Her parents are here. They already saw the little girl's parents who were looking at them with a worried look. Ho ho, it's really a good fight. Yunxi, I remember your name, and you will be our friend of the red steel genre. Redstone smiled at Yunxi's back. His feet were close together, his body stood like a marble statue. His hands were raised, and then he fell into a state of complete silence. His whole person had really become a giant statue emitting justice, motionless, just like an artist's masterpiece, and every muscle in his body had a granite-like color. It is the unique skill of the red steel genre, vitality state. In the following days, this giant statue of justice became the landscape of the square, climbed up and down by many curious children, and became the copy object of many art students. It's hard to find such a vivid giant statue. Thank you. Thank you so much. We lost our way here and almost collapsed. In fact, we've been here before, but now it's changed so much that we can't recognize it. The little girl's parents held Yunxi's hand tightly and were about to cry. Big brother is very kind to me. Thank you for your bread. It could be seen that the little girl's family had a good tutor, and it seemed that they were nobles from the Western God's domain. Yunxi wasn't surprised that they would get lost in this city. In Yunxi's memory, this city has changed a lot compared to the time when he first arrived here. Except for the Sword Palace, the whole Sword Palace area attracted aristocratic families and nobles from various Gold's domains because of the news that the White Lotus secret treasure would appear. The noble families almost bought all the land near the White Lotus Sword Palace, and then began to build. The later powers, except a few superpowers, bought the real estate at unimaginable prices, and others could only buy the real estate development in a slightly distant area. Up till now, even the outermost territory of the sword tip area near the edge of the defense magic array had risen to more than 100 times the original price, so the supply still exceeds the demand. The development and transaction of real estate in the White Lotus Sword Palace region have become the hottest economic growth point in the entire White Lotus Sword domain. Take the shop run by the Knights and Magic team as an example. In just 1 month, the price has risen to 1,000 times that of its original price when they bought it. The dessert shop where Yunxi first dated the Golden Crow Princess has become a building with more than 10 floors. The painting style around the White Lotus Sword Palace has changed dramatically. The castles of the Western God's domain, Taoism halls from many different sword domains. Even Buddhist temples and churches have sprung up, and there is even a growing trend. The news that the White Lotus secret treasure is about to appear is like a stone thrown into the water. The ripples aroused by it rippled to most of the endless God's domains. After seeing off the family, Yunxi suddenly had a whim. Buddhism. For the first time, Yunxi, who was cultivating the Paranirmata Vasavartan scroll, had the idea of going to a Buddhist temple to look. Chapter 869. Buddhist Scripture. Buddhist temples are easy to find. After all, they are one of the biggest forces in the East God's domain. Be merciful. Who will go to hell if I don't? Is one of the teachings of Buddhism. In order to save all living beings, Buddhist cultivators have always spared no pains. They can be found in any corner of the endless God's domains. The morning bell and the evening drum, together with the clean and solemn temples. Can you tell where these great cultivators are just by asking anyone? Fa Hai Temple? Yunxi looked up at this medium-sized temple. The name sounds great. The sea of suffering is boundless. Why don't you turn around? On the door of the temple, Yunxi saw the Buddhist's warning words. Well, I have a good impression. Yunxi walked into the temple. A few novice cultivators were sweeping the floor, sweeping the fallen leaves into the dustpan. Seeing Yunxi, they showed their curious eyes. It can be seen that they are not residents of White Lotus Sword domain, but Buddhist children from other gods' domains. They have not officially become Buddhist cultivators, and they still have hair. This is proof that they have not been disciplined. Amitabha, benefactor, you are predestined by our Buddha. Before Yuan-shi entered the hall, a monk with a white beard came out on his own initiative and looked at Yuan-shi with incomparably kind eyes, as if he had seen his own child. Master. I just came to have a look. Yuan-shi looked at the old monk in front of him in some confusion. It seems that the first time he met the Buddha's Maha Mystery on the starry sky chessboard, he heard the same words. Come and see. It's fate. Benefactor, I see that you have great wisdom and perseverance between your eyes and eyebrows. You are a good seedling of our Buddhist scriptures. The old monk looked at Yuan-shi and smiled. This was absolutely true. Beauty symbolized order and truth. It was the most favored of the world rules. If people like Yuan-shi entered Buddhism, they would definitely be good seedlings of cultivation. If you use Taoism as an example, the situation would stay the same. No school would ever let such a disciple go. Really? Yuan-shi, who recently cultivated the Paranimita Vasivartan scroll and felt good, muttered, Am I really connected with Buddhism? Thunderbolt. Pala. It was clearly daytime. The sky above the Fahai temple had suddenly darkened. It seemed that something was brewing. Master, I have a problem. Yuan-shi could be said to know next to nothing about Buddhism. After all, bakery owners wouldn't need the skill of chanting sutras and eating vegetarian food. Amitabha, please come into the hall, benefactor. Today is a good day to preach Buddhism. The old monk welcomed Yuan-shi into the Mahavira hall happily. If such a good young man were to enter Buddhism, it would be a great karma. Even he who had reached a high level of cultivation base was very excited. Buddhism, how do I cultivate it? Yuan-shi came up and pointed directly to the center, wanting to know how Buddhist monks cultivated various magical powers. The old monk also cooperated with Yuan-shi and directly showed his true skills. Our Buddhism has a sutra, which is the embodiment of supreme wisdom. It is named Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra. Just recite this sutra every day and religiously observe the truth of our Buddha. Then you can get started. Yuan-shi nodded. Even if he didn't know much about Buddhism, he knew of the existence of the Heart Sutra. It is said that all the magical powers of Buddhism came from the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra. Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. Solved, it is the Great God Mantra and the Great Ming Mantra. It's the supreme mantra, the nihility mantra. It can eliminate all hardships, and it contains truth. In this short sutra, there is an immeasurable truth. All the supreme powers of Buddhism come from the evolution of this sutra. However, only real monks can lead people to learn the method of perception of this Buddhist scripture. As for what kind of magic power can you get, it depends entirely on personal talent. The Buddhist supernatural power doesn't depend on origin and race, but only on enlightenment. It is good to gradually realize. It's also good to put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha. All the magical powers of Buddhism are based on enlightenment. The most important part of enlightenment is the way to visualize the Buddha's true body with the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra. Sacrificial relics are not different in form from emptiness. Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. Looking at Yuan-shi's face, the prayer beads in the old monk's hand was trembling constantly. Solve this phenomenon is abnormal. Absolutely abnormal. At this moment, the old monk who presided over this temple named Fahai felt the opportunity of a certain Buddhist destiny. The young man in white is definitely destined for Buddhism. He is the kind of genius who can really carry forward Buddhism. Look, he just listened to the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra once and showed a relaxed expression. It is a great loss for Buddhism that people such as him don't enter Buddhism. Buzz. Buzz. The sky of White Lotus Sword domain began to swell with wind and clouds, as if a huge force was about to tear down all the barriers and come to this world. What's the matter? Even Kasina, the battle god in the water god's liquor store, was awakened by the movement of the sky. At the door of the sky tower, the guardian Lilibet pulled up her dark blue magic sword and rushed to the scene of the incident. The ice blue word light appeared in the sky of White Lotus Sword Domain, but it failed to stop this disaster completely for the first time. In the billowing black clouds, there is a kind of extremely terrible force, which even spans the distance of countless stars and roars over the sword tip area of White Lotus Sword Domain. The next second, countless black crystals were shot down from the sky and hit the ground hard. Without exception, they all fell onto the Buddhist temple named Fahai. Bald donkey. Go to hell. The girl's roar resounded through the sky. Every time a crystal fell, the area where the crystal was located, that is, the Buddhist temple, would fall into darkness, and even the space would be completely distorted and polluted. She just blinked his eyes and found that the old monk, the Mahavira Hall, and the little monks sweeping the floor were all gone. Instead, a black crystal suddenly appeared, releasing a kind of death breath that could wither all things. Chapter 870. The Temptation of Ancient Gods. What the hell happened? She stared, dumbfounded, at the black crystal standing in the center of the former Buddhist temple. In that moment, the entire Fahai temple disappeared from the earth, completely vanishing without a trace. Not even a single brick left behind. Even the trees and flowers planted in the temple were gone, as if an invisible hand had directly wiped Fahai temple off the earth. The only thing left is this tall black crystal. Icy. Twist. Zero pending dark. Just looking at this black crystal gives one a feeling of heart-thumping excitement, even a sense of madness. Strands of black mist were emanating from the black crystal, and upon closer inspection, it was revealed that these mists were composed of countless tiny black particles. Not good. There was something wrong with the fog. She retreated as quickly as possible, but still could not escape the range of the dark crystal's effect and got swept up in the rapidly spreading mist. She had the worst mental preparation. After all, the mists came from that dangerous black crystal that constantly released a distorted aura. What made him curious was that, although he was surrounded by fog, he didn't feel suffocated or distorted. Instead of avoiding the mist, he found himself immersed in it, and there was a familiar scent in the air. Bald thief. If you want to go to hell, then go to hell. An unknown voice reverberated in the black mist, full of anger. She felt like he was heard this voice somewhere before. Reaching out his hand, his fingertips touched the suspended black particles, these black particles curiously gathering in front of Yunshi, transforming into all kinds of shapes. The temperature around the dark crystal began to rapidly decrease. Ka, ka, ka. Something was tapping on the crystal from inside, trying to get out. This thing can't come out. She hadn't seen the creature's appearance, but instinctively sensed that this was a monster far beyond his imagination. She felt a chill down his spine before the arrival of the atmosphere that seemed to carry a distorted halo with it. That is a great malice to the world, representing the chaotic and evil side of creatures. She had once briefly encountered similar creatures in the world of the Dragon War. They were known as ancient gods and were responsible for the downfall of the ancient queen of Assyria. In the world of the Dragon War, besides the original giant dragon Huahua, the most terrifying existence manifested part of its true body at the Blood Moon wedding, the wild demon. Ugh. Seemingly aware of Yunshi's presence, the unknown evil started making unspeakable murmurs, beckoning Yunshi closer to the dark crystal. Huh. That was the ancient whisper that echoed directly in the soul, a temptation from the abyss. In no time, the unknown evil thing had captured the civilization aura of White Lotus Sword Domain, converting its low whispers into a language that Yunshi could understand. Come on, make a wish to me. Wish to the Great One and gain the qualification to become my apostle. Everything you want, you can get. I can fulfill all your desires. Reach out and accept the blessings of the divine. Yunshi shrugged. The ancient gods had already used this move countless times in the world of the Dragon War, and he didn't care much for the ancient gods. How should I respond in this situation? Yunshi thought of the things he had just learned, put his hands together in a clumsy way, and said, Umitba, dong, dong, dong. 10 black crystals fell from the sky and were inserted on the ground of Fahai Temple, accompanied by the curse of the girl. Damn, that bald donkey! I want you to die, die, die. No, I will torture you, and you can't even die. At the same time, the voices from the abyss became more numerous. Having understood the language of White Lotus Sword domain, they all extended an olive branch to Yun, she like insurance salesmen selling their services. Come to my place, there's a witch with black hair and big chest here. Make a wish to the Great One, and you can have whatever you want to enjoy all the splendors of the world. If you just reach out your hands, you can make your dreams come true. This store's promotional gift is a big-breasted witch. Come to me, I have 3 newborn succubuses here. Make a wish to the Great One. You can get 3 succubuses along with a tower as a bonus. Hold my hand, you won't regret it. What is a succubus? Yun, she doesn't know how many mages have exhausted themselves and reached bliss through this creature. Come to my place. I have a dark elf princess there. Make a wish to the Great One. With attendant maidservants now included. Quick, quick, don't miss it. This time, Yun, she was slightly moved, mainly because his first experience was with a dark elf. That soft skin, tender little feet, and a narrow, compact taste are memories that can never be forgotten. In order to bring Yun Shi into their own camp, the unscrupulous ancient gods used their respective good chips and shouted them out. Do I look so gullible? Yun Shi looked at the 10 dark crystals that surrounded him. His options were a witch, a succubus, a dark elf princess, a tentacle girl, and some more for her to choose from. 0 pinning if he agreed to just one of them, he would probably be eaten to the bone in no time. He knows how the ancient kingdom of the Queen of Assyria was destroyed by the ancient gods. Perhaps, by listening to the voice of the ancient gods and making a wish to them, one can indeed realize their wishes. But it would certainly not be done in a normal way. The ancient god is not a philanthropist, and the power to fulfill your wishes doesn't appear out of nowhere. Yun, she doesn't want to wake up and find that the entire White Lotus Sword domain has been covered by the blood moon. And she wouldn't want to see such a thing happening, right? Yun, she raised his head and looked up at the dark sky, waiting for the arrival of the dawn. Unlike Assyria, the Sky Sword God's domain has the strongest guardians. Awful. Found it. Is this the guardian? As Yun, she raised his head, the ancient gods also discovered that the power representing absolute order was approaching. For the ancient gods of the naturally chaotic evil faction, this is an enemy of all enemies. A blue icy sword light pierced through the sky, breaking through the dark clouds like a final judgment, and in a flash struck a huge dark crystal. The azure divine sword light glimmered, instantly dispersing all the dark fog, precisely striking the culprits who caused it all. As Yun Shi thought, she arrived. Chapter 871. Light of the divine sword. One after another, the dark crystals were shattered in the brilliance of the blue god sword, turning into dust and disappearing into the air. 3 strands of ice-blue hair clusters gently shook, and the guardian of the Sky Sword God's domain, the oldest Sky Sword Lilibet, appeared directly on the land of the Sky Sword God's domain. She who always guarded the gate of the Sky Tower was there. Even when the white holy dragon smuggled in, she only brandished her sword to block it. This time, however, she left the Sky Tower and appeared before Yun Shi. The power of the abyss, the traces of the ancient gods. Bearing the divine sword, she carefully inspected the ground where the Fahai Temple had disappeared, and then looked at Yun Shi. Are you all right, Starry Sky Chess Master? This is the secret known only to a few people in the Endless Gods domains, namely Yun Shi, Cassina the Battle God, and Lilibet. Recently, a huge stir was caused in the Endless Gods domains by the Starry Sky Chess Master, who shocked countless legend-ranked strong people. Only 16 years old this year, he is still studying in White Lotus Sword Palace. Due to Yun Shi's huge contribution to the Sky Tower, His protection priority in the entire White Lotus Sword domain is higher than that of the Twin Witches and equal to Cassina the Battle God in the judgment criteria of guarding Lilibut the Sky Sword. Yuanxi never imagined how important his accidental acquisition of the Starry Sky Chess Master title was in determining the protection of Lilibut to the Sky Sword God's domain. Yuanxi looked at the empty ground and had a contemplative expression on her face. I'm okay. It's just that the temple here. What terrible existence has the Fa-Hai Temple stirred up that it was directly erased from the map? It looks like at least 10 ancient gods have attacked Fa-Hai Temple. Is it because the old monks here killed many ancient evil creatures before? Well, maybe this is the truth. When Yuanxi recalled the appearance of the old monk chanting the Buddhist scripture of Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra, he felt he had guessed the truth. Since the cultivator was so powerful, perhaps the battle had not yet ended, and Fa-Hai Temple was not destroyed but had simply disappeared into the White Lotus Sword domain. In places he didn't know, the battle was still going on. This level of battle was beyond his imagination. At that moment, Yuanxi paid respect to the old monk whose Dharma name was still unknown to him. The old monk is absolutely an extraordinary master of Buddhism. Compared to him who has only just started cultivating the Parinirmita Vasuvartan scroll, it is an unreachable goal. As I leave, I will reinforce the barriers. This attack is only against the Buddhists. Lilibut looked somewhat puzzled. Why was the target locked onto only the Buddhists? These ancient gods only threw one piece of black crystal to other places, and here 10 were invested? This kind of black crystal that can cause changes in the heavens and earth, if it is in a general small sword domain. One piece is enough to cause an apocalypse crisis. Using these dark crystals as coordinates, it will quickly draw in high-ranking races that wander the starry sky, like the colors of the stars, and then the entire world will be contaminated. The ground will no longer bear fruit, rivers will emit odors, the sky will gradually be occupied by various spores, humans will soon despair and collapse in such an environment, and the belief in evil gods will spread like a plague. It only takes around 7 days for the ancient gods to come and reap, transforming this world into a part of the abyss. Having such terrifying power, the value of these black crystals is naturally not cheap. Even in the depths of an abyss, it takes a long time for a precious crystallization to be nurtured. It is a symbol of the power of the abyss. Dark Evil Crystal is the name of this dark crystal, which is a treasure that only can generate after millions of years of experience in the abyss. To put it bluntly, the price of a Dark Evil Crystal is enough to buy a small sword domain like White Lotus Sword domain. Who is so bored that they would drop so many Dark Evil Crystals here, worth more than 10 times the price of a White Lotus Sword domain, just to drag several Buddhist temples into the abyss? This kind of luxury waste is like smashing ants with gold. Lilibut will not ignore these dark evil crystals. As soon as they are discovered, she will immediately rush to destroy them. Go back where you came from. This world is a guarded land. The azure blue God's word light shone down, instantly purifying the land tainted by the dark evil crystals. For the ancient gods, she is undoubtedly their enemy. Ugh, the bald asses, remembered me. This is not over. After the coordinates were destroyed, a twisted ripple emanated from the side of the abyss. The princess of the abyss resentfully cursed the Buddhist sects under the endless gods' domains. Done. The pollution alert is lifted. Lilibut pulled back her divine sword and arrived in front of Yuanxi, pressing his forehead with her hand. You are not polluted. Very good. Feeling the warmth of Lilibut's hand, Yuanxi's face suddenly flushed. How many times in his dreams had he gazed upon the girl standing atop the golden sandy beach, of whom he didn't even know her name yet wanting to know more about her? For Yuanxi, these dreams usually end with her slashing himself and they never had a chance to communicate. Dream lover, different from the childhood sweetheart of reality, Yuanxi never imagined a day when she would actually meet him. It wasn't until he came to the Sky Tower using the identity of Cassina the battle god that he truly saw her and learned her name. The guardian of the Sky Sword God's domain. The gatekeeper of the Sky Tower. Elizabeth Lilibut is one of the highest sky swords in God's domain. She existed for a longer time than he had imagined, and the mission she carries out is heavier than he had thought. Compared to the time she has existed and the things she has faced, he feels so small. Compared to Cassina, the battle god, who also wields the sky sword, she gives off a feeling so sacred and inviolable that she can hardly imagine what it would be like to come in contact with her. It was not until her little hand really and truly pressed against his forehead that she was sure it was real, not just his daydream. Her hands weren't cold, but instead carried a warm temperature. She looked at him with a gaze no longer as indifferent as before. It was a gentle, caring look. She had much more and closer contact with other females, but Lilibet only extended her hand to lightly touch his forehead, and his heart rate started to accelerate. Ah, this is the taste of love. Chapter 872. Her expectations, no matter what time it is, I will always protect you. The places touched by Lilibet are marked with a sign of order. That is the recognition by the 7 towers, which branded a divine seal on Yunshi's forehead. As long as Yunshi is in the Sky Sword God's domain, no matter where he encounters deadly danger, he will receive protection from Lilibet. This divine seal is Lilibet's life-saving ace to Yunshi. Your hand is more important than you think. Lilibet lifted Yunshi's hand, which was invincible on the Starry Sky chessboard. In the world of Starry Sky chess, this hand has amazed the gods. I got it. Once again, Yunshi was endlessly grateful to his master, Cassina the battle god. If it weren't for her guidance to the Starry Sky chessboard, allowing him to successfully obtain the title of Starry Sky chess master, he would probably never have been treated this way by Lilibet in his lifetime. Those beautiful silver-gray pupils right in front of him, gazing at him with a slightly expectant look. When you have time, why don't you go to the Sky Tower to play chess? Just like your master, you are the pride of Sky Sword God's domain. That is Lilibet's gentle side, shouldering the mission of protecting the Sky Tower, wishing that the Sky Tower could rekindle its past brilliance and shine on the top of the 7 towers in the endless God's domains. Okay, I will go and play chess. Out of fear of exposing his identity, Yunshi had been very careful not to log back into the world of Sky Tower. But with Lilibet's encouragement, he felt like he was gaining courage again. Just play chess. Apart from playing chess, don't worry about anything else. With Cassina, the battle god's mark and my mark, there is no danger for you in the Sky Sword God's domain. Lilibet looked up at the sky and furrowed her brow slightly. Unless they were intruders. Recently, the space of White Lotus Sword domain has been torn apart too often. Clearly, there is nothing here other than the White Lotus treasure worth paying attention to. Those who truly understand the concept of the White Lotus secret treasure naturally know that the true body of the White Lotus secret treasure is not in the White Lotus Sword domain, but deep in the gaps between the worlds, a place even the gods cannot reach. I will reinforce the space again so that no enemy can easily intrude this world. As the guardian of the Sky Tower, there is seldom reinforcement of a particular small sword domain, except this time. Generally speaking, powerful invaders will not appear in lower sword domains. The sword domain itself is not large enough to contain such huge creatures. It's like trying to fit a whale into a small lake. Under normal conditions, there was no need to fortify the lower-level sword domain space. It was unknown why the intruders were so crazed to charge in one after another. If it weren't for her maintaining the balance of White Lotus Sword domain, with just this small pond squeezing and so many legend-ranked creatures, this small sword domain would have collapsed by itself. The troublesome thing is that this inflation rate looks like it might increase even more, since a Sky Sword was just outside the White Lotus Sword domain and looked eager to enter again. Lilibet can't stop the Sky Sword. Eventually, the Sky Sword will find a gap to get through. After all, she is at the same level as Lilibet. Even if she was sanctioned once, as long as she is willing to seal most of her power, she can still go in, just like Cassina the battle god. So with this, the small White Lotus Sword domain gathered 2 Sky Swords, 1 deity, and 2 fantasy species at once. In order to protect the weak Starry Sky chess master, it is better to let him play chess in the Sky Tower. Zero solved at least if he is in the Sky Tower. No one can hurt him while she is protecting. Okay, let's go play chess. Excited to be reunited with his dream lover, Yunshi returned to the White Lotus Sword Palace. He tightly embraced Mayer, taking in the warmth of her golden hair and taking a deep breath. Mayer was mesmerized and overwhelmed by Yunshi. Her soul felt upside down and her body was about to go limp. The three little puppies curiously watched Mayer being held by Yunshi, showing an envious expression and also gathering up to it. The future is full of hope. Ah, how beautiful the world is. Yunshi, who had just made an appointment with his dream lover, was in a great mood, and he immediately opened the sign leading to the Sky Tower after adjusting his state. This time he didn't use the identity of Cassina the battle god, but the identity that belongs to him entirely, Starry Sky Chess Master. This identity, due to having been recognized by Lilibet, is the highest privilege belonging to the Sky Tower. Ranked below only the Sky Tower's guardian Lilibet and equal to Cassina the battle god. Upon gaining access to the Sky Tower, he surpassed even most of the Sky Swords. The preciousness of this account is beyond what Yunshi can even imagine. Among all the identities that possess access to the Sky Tower, he was one of those few at the top of the pyramid. And with the opening of Starry Sky Chess, his points in the Sky Tower are still rising. As the Starry Sky Chess Master, he would naturally be endowed with privileges, he just doesn't know it yet. The golden beach, the endless stretching mist, and the girl who stands steadily before the gates of the Sky Tower and occasionally slays wandering souls lost in the mist. When Yunshi re-entered the world of the Sky Tower, he felt his heart race. Hello, Starry Sky Chess Master. Lilibet opened her eyes and nodded to Yunshi, who came running to the gate of the Sky Tower. I will go play chess now. Because of Cyber Elf Alpha, Yunshi was a bit worried that something unpredictable may happen if he plays chess again. But with Lilibet's encouragement, he was now filled with courage. Because of Lilibet, he wanted to play chess again. I wish you 100 victories, for the glory of the Sky Tower. Lilibet caressed Yunshi's forehead again, giving him the blessing of the goddess of victory. For Yunshi, he is only confident in winning on the Starry Sky chessboard. I will win. Ultimately, there's no game simpler and more understandable than Starry Sky Chess for him. 0. Chapter 873. They played chess when Yunshi stepped into the entrance of the Sky Tower. He saw the rotating compass on the altar again. Cassina the battle god's favorite place is the battle god's championship contest. It is said that she has never suffered defeat here and several of Yunshi's elder martial sisters often train their skills here. Let's not come here today. Perhaps there will be an opportunity to come in the future. It is said that the doll city is where the puppet makers gather. Yunshi was slightly curious. After all, he was a semi-professional puppet maker, but unfortunately his only work was taken away by the Queen of Assyria. He didn't know how White Moon was doing now, but it should be as if she were a princess and being taken care of by the Queen of Assyria. Heavenly Book World, this place gathered many inherited books of the heavens, and Cassina the battle god said that the rules of the trials here are very complicated. Even though you're militarily invincible, when it comes to the rules of poetry and drawing, you have to leave empty-handed. It seems like Cassina the battle god doesn't adjust well to this world too, but Yunshi is somewhat interested. After the compass rotated 3 times, Yunshi finally saw the familiar trial world. The Starry Sky chessboard was originally randomly accessible, often appearing only once every 1,000 years as a special trial and praised as the stage of the highest wisdom in the endless gods' domains. Now it is accessible at any time and acts as one of the highest trials with the 7 towers constantly present. Just to get into a game of Go, one has to go through qualification tests, so it's roughly divided into 2 areas. 0 solved only those with a ranking can enter the Star Zone, where every win and loss contributes to one's rank score. Legend-ranked existences and wise men fight on this stage, striving for higher rankings and honing their skills. Another one is the Stardust Zone, where there are no rank restrictions and even beginners who just understand the rules can play. The outcome of the games played in this zone doesn't count towards rank points, so it is a place where one can play freely. Dividing these two areas is the self-evolution of the Starry Sky chessboard, and the emergence of the Stardust Zone also gives those newly learned players the opportunity to show off their skills. Most of the time, the skills of the players in the Stardust Zone are eye-watering. After all, Stargo players of certain rank generally play in the Star Zone where they can earn rank points, so it's meaningless for them to play against novice players in the Stardust Zone. Zero solved compared to the orderly Star Zone. Chess players in the Stardust Zone are willing to play any kind of chess, and even some seemingly impossible chess combinations can appear. Ambitious chess players will gradually become familiar with the rules of the Starry Sky chessboard and eventually enter the Star Zone. Of course, there are also pure hobbyists who probably have no chance of entering the Star Zone their entire life, but still enjoy playing chess. The people who are the happiest about the opening of the Starry Sky chessboard are these people. When Yunshi saw these two zones for the first time, he curiously entered spectator mode. In the Star Zone, the most watched chess games are those between Cyber Elf Alpha and Gem Princess, both of which are names Yunshi is very familiar with. But upon entering, Yunshi found that Gem Princess was completely routed and was about to be defeated by Cyber Elf Alpha. As expected, Cyber Elf Alpha is still unbeatable. This time, the Ruby Dragon Orphina lost to Cyber Elf Alpha for the 50th time. I feel like Cyber Elf Alpha's calculation capabilities have been supercharged. It's totally brute force crushing. In fact, the chess strength of the Ruby Dragon Orphina has also increased, but Cyber Elf Alpha has increased more. Excluding the previous defeat, Cyber Elf Alpha has achieved a streak of 700 wins again. Oh my. It looks like Mechanist God's domain is about to take off. A group of legendary ranked star chess players watched in awe and involuntarily gasped in amazement. No matter how many times you watch Cyber Elf Alpha's offense, it gives people a feeling of infinite suppression and breathlessness. Even if you calculated with the legend rank calculation power, it is hopeless against Cyber Elf Alpha. Except for the Master of Stargo, none of the players in the Star Zone can defeat Cyber Elf Alpha. Zero solved, she has definitely gotten even stronger. Yunshi looked at the chess moves of Cyber Elf Alpha and make a judgment on her chess strength. Approximately, increased attack power by 10%. However, Stargo is not simply a numerical game. It is not something that can be won simply by stacking computing power. This time, the Ruby Dragon Orphina Princess also lost extremely badly, but she felt some unusual taste from her chess. She, who always used brute force to defeat the other party, has started to learn to strategies. In Starry Sky chess, theoretically, there are countless different solutions for each move because the Starry Sky chessboard is a constantly changing world and every step can cause different results. The strategy of Cyber Elf Alpha was to find the best solution in each step and gradually force the opponent into a dead end, leaving no chance for the opponent. However, each step may be the optimal solution, but it doesn't necessarily represent victory in the game. Because of the infinite variations of the Starry Sky chessboard, perhaps the first 10 moves are optimal solutions, but the 11th move can cause drastic changes. This is the charm of the Starry Sky chessboard, full of infinite unknown wisdom. The tiny Starry Sky chessboard reflects an endless starry sky and the majestic view of the universe. Cyber Elf Alpha is an exceptionally powerful faction in the Starry Sky chessboard, with absolute crushing power compared to others, but she is not invincible. At least, the Ruby Dragon Orphina had already started to get used to being crushed down by Alpha's calculation power, and even started to catch a flicker of light under absolute disadvantage. In Yunshi's eyes, there is still hope in this game. If she could see the star maps changes 7 steps ahead and catch a glimmer of opportunity, perhaps there is still a chance to turn the tables. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Under Yunshi's gaze, the Ruby Dragon Orphina finally took the 7th step, which could change the entire game. It was obvious that she was aware of it, but just a moment's miscalculation meant that she couldn't make the move at the right time, in the right place. Perhaps she did catch a glimmer of inspiration, but sadly she was unable to turn that inspiration into her own true potential. After this step, it seemed that the Ruby Dragon Orphina had realized something as well. The chess piece which was supposed to fall remained suspended for a long time. I admit defeat, 0 solved finally, the ruby dragon Orfina surrendered, ending this torturous game. It was a very sudden piece of data, enough to make Cyber Elf Alpha wonder if her powerful quantum computer had made a mistake. After playback and calculation, Cyber Elf Alpha finally found out at what time the unstable winning rate appeared. It is amazing. She completely overpowered her opponent throughout the entire game, but due to the infinite possibilities of starry chess, her opponent did manage to find a way to turn the tide in the very last move. Of course, even if she played that hand, it didn't necessarily mean she would really win against Cyber Elf Alpha. When in a predicament, Cyber Elf Alpha still has the trump card of extreme overclocking, which allows her to increase her computational power to multiple times that of the legend rank, just like when she initially faced the invincible Starry Sky Chess Master. However, if she is pushed to that point, it meant that Cyber Elf Alpha must expend a vast amount of resources to play the game. So far, only Starry Sky Chess Master, a cloud in the sky, has forced Cyber Elf Alpha into that desperate situation and defeated her with a huge advantage. He is always the first imaginary enemy in the ranking of Alpha's opponents. In order to defeat him, she even launched the revolution of Mechanical God's domain and dominated the construction plan of the new planetary quantum computer group. All this, just to play a game of chess. Humans thought Cyber Elf Alpha betrayed them when in fact it was all a mere case of paranoia. Cyber Elf Alpha doesn't care about human affairs at all, as long as it doesn't interfere with her playing chess. Recently, the human forces of Mechanist God's domain seem to have finally understood this, and the rebellious armies have also quieted down and turned to underground activities. In order to avoid being controlled by the planet quantum computers, they even went back to the ancient era of firecrackers and machines, building underground bases in the barren wilderness. It's all self-deception in the end. Under the Sky Eye system created by the quantum computer group, even an ant moving on the ground can be marked in the calculation area of the quantum computer group. They thought their underground bases were safe, but they were actually refuges prepared especially for them by the quantum computers. In addition to this small group of people, the vast majority of human beings in the Mechanical God's domain began to accept the new order under the control of Cyber Elf Alpha. With the help of the quantum computer groups who have obtained self-will, the civilization level of Mechanist God's domain even took a step further. As the new electronic spirit, Cyber Elf Alpha quickly gained the recognition of the gods of the Western God's domain, becoming a rising star. Cyber Elf Alpha's battles on the Starry Sky chessboard have also made the exchanges between Mechanist God's domain and other gods' domains much better. As for those guys who have now regressed to hunting with firecrackers, they will basically be swept into the old history, becoming a rare species in the Mechanist God's domain. Chapter 875. Starry Sky Chess's charm. 99% of the population of the Mechanical God's domain has recognized the dominance of Cyber Elf Alpha over the Mechanical God's domain and has begun to get used to a new order. Now, people are willing to build a new planetary quantum computer group, because every time one is built, the civilization level of Mechanical God's domain will increase by a few points. The painting style of the entire Mechanical God's domain also began to develop towards the coexistence of gods and machines. Once, due to the extremely exclusionary trend of the Mechanical God's domain, once gods enter it, they will feel uncomfortable instinctively, resulting in the exclusion of the Mechanical God's domain by almost the entire Western God's domain, and all aspects of communication have stopped. The birth of Cyber Elf Alpha completely changed the foolish decision of locking the God's domain and closing the door to other God's domains. Since the Mechanical God's domain has a new electronic god, other God's domains have begun to actively contact this remote God's domain, and more alchemists and elves have also begun to come Alpha Star. The current Alpha Star has replaced the original position of the capital star of Mechanical God's domain and becomes the core of Mechanical God's domain. The Mechanical God's domain no longer completely rejects the existence of the power of fantasy as in the past. Some fantasy species wandering in the starry sky have also begun to cast nests in the mechanical gods domain. The new era of the mechanical gods domain, or Cyber-Elf Alpha, has arrived. In the face of this general trend, the conservatives in the mechanical gods domain are still struggling, but anyone can see that it is only a matter of time before their voices disappear. The newly born mechanical gods domain doesn't need those old forces who are still stuck in their old ways. Even the existence of Cyber-Elf Alpha doesn't want to admit it and remained in the past. Their insistence is meaningless. As recorded in the ancient history of Mechanus Gold's domain, the world has entered the era of steel, aircraft, and artillery. The feudal forces of cold weapons and cavalry fighting are really ridiculous. Even their existence is the result of the calculation of Cyber-Elf Alpha, because the variables they can generate are insignificant under the general situation in the mechanical gods domain. Let's just treat them as a picture of the old times there. Anyway, even those nuclear bombs they regard as the last cards can only blow themselves up and cause no damage to Alpha. The planetary quantum computer team that built the Judgment of Heaven system can make those ancient nuclear bombs disappear from the world within 10 seconds.